Hello, everybody. I'm here with a scratchy voice because of too much karaoke last night. So, hope everybody is doing well and had a great week. Everything looks fine, and I think it's time to start. So, hey, welcome everybody. This is the Shortwave radio show. We are Friday, and of course, this is the Friday edition. We are twice a week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 0 UTC. We are also on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and 20 UTC. That's soon to change the reference because we are soon in a couple of weeks, we're going to change our times and bring the clock back 1 hour. So it's going to change our local time reference. But the UTC always stays the same. So just remember that it's 0 UTC. And we will, of course, be live at 0 UTC and at 20 UTC. So, this is a show about radio, shortwave radio in general, and anything radio anyways. Sometimes we just, go somewhere else. We talk about other things. And we are, of course, live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles, and hope that you enjoy the show. Today, we will tune demands, we will answer questions, and talk about the upcoming changes in the schedules, as the new B19 schedule season is going to start this weekend on Sunday. And we will, of course, be taking a look a little bit and talking about why stations need to change their frequencies for, different seasons. And there's a beautiful chat room, by the way, if you want to chat with other guys that are as passionate and geeky about radio like you are. We are here to have fun. And of course, if you're new to the hobby and have questions, it's a great place to be, because we, of course, will take the time to answer any questions and help out in general. And a lot of people started the hobby thanks to the fact that this is a great place for learning what shortwave radio is all about, and this is kind of cool for that. So hope that you're going to have fun today. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here from Louisiana. WA5107SWL is the shortwave call sign. Matt, nice to have you here from Colorado. Toby Allen, nice to have you on board from Norway. Terry Cook, nice to have you here. KF7BQ, Western Montana. Solar storm today and tomorrow. Yeah, well, it's mostly the geomagnetic field that's a little disturbed. I saw that the K index was 3, which is unsettled. So that's because of little bits of solar wind gusts that are brushing up with the geomagnetic field of the Earth. So that, of course, does change a little bit the propagation, and it doesn't seem too bad. I was looking at some signals that I usually look at when that happens, and it doesn't seem too bad actually right now. Mark Cope from Dallas, Texas, nice to have you here. Keisha Escape, nice to have you on board. He really wants that international ICR20 without the frequency lockouts. Well, Toby Allen. Well, solar storms and such make noise on radio frequencies also. I guess magnetic field and such can generate some kind of noise on signals and some wavelengths. There are some induced noise sometimes from either geomagnetic storms and even the solar, even the sun, when they have solar flares and stuff like that. Sometimes it can happen that we see increased noise from the interaction of the sun and the geomagnetic field, absolutely, and it's possible. It's possible that some days you might see the noise level on some of the frequencies you're listening to higher than normal and wonder, is it local? Is it what's happening? And part of it is due to solar activity. So, yes, it's possible. DE1 DJK, nice to have you on board from Germany, and no problem, my friend. We can't always be there. Joseph, nice to have you on board, my friend, from a way too hot October in Tampa, Florida. Nice to have you here. Here it's it's 11 Celsius, which is roughly the temperature that is at this time of year for Montreal, which is 11 Celsius is somewhere in the 50s, I would guess. So it's getting slowly cooler. I saw something that in the weather here in Montreal, they were showing that for next week for Halloween, it's going to be kind of pretty cool. And they were showing that the temperature might actually be even cold enough in Montreal for maybe the first snowflakes of the season. So when we start hearing about, snowflakes here and there, we know that winter is coming. JD, nice to have you here from Prince Edward Island. Welcome, my friend. William Helms from Florida, nice to have you here. Matambale in Colorado, nice to have you on board. Hey, Sheldon, nice to have you here. Sheldon Harvey from Greenfield Park, Quebec. Bonjour, hi, guten tag, ni hao, hola. What else do we have? Let's go down slowly. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Toujours un plaisir de vous avoir parmi nous. Keisha's Cake says, I saw the video of you doing karaoke on my, on my, I got a few things of that show up. There's a guy that came here a few times in the chat, Tim Robinson, and on his YouTube channel, he actually has a few videos of me singing at my karaoke bar. So he actually watch, because there's a live stream. The karaoke bar that I go to, there's a live stream. You can see the singers live. So I sang a few songs. I think I sang 4 songs last night. And I had a lot of fun. Brian Penny, nice to have you here, my friend, from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And, of course, we are on the air. It says right here, we are on the air. So, nice to have you on board, Brian. What do we have? Jose Ramon, nice to have you on board, my friend from Spain. And actually in the background here, I have Radio Exterior de España. So this 9690, pretty good signal from Spain here. Joe Rotman, nice to have you here from Chicago. Just going to take a sip of beer for my voice. Rufus Newt, nice to have you on board from the Laurentian Valley in Ontario. Keith Logan, nice to have you on board, my friend. Fred Thorndike, nice to have you here from Brampton, Ontario. Cool. Page Master, nice to have you here. KC5VOY or WA5136 says WL. And he says meow. Matambale, Aoki's B19 file is still empty. Oh, okay. You can go on hfcc.org, hfcc.org, and take the public file for the B19 schedules, where you'll have what is predicted to be the frequencies of the different broadcasters. Ronald Zucala, nice to have you here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Nice to have you back. Hope everything's all right. Keisha Escape says, oh man, B19 gonna have to reprogram all memories in my... Yeah, that's why I don't program shortwave receivers memories, because of the changes in schedules. Some stations stay on the same frequencies all the time. My Spanish is not very good, but at the beginning of the hour, I heard Radio Exterior de España mention that they had some frequency changes coming up. Andy Coley, nice to have you here. Keith Logan, nice to have you here. Pretty good. Brent, nice to have you on board from Brockville, Ontario, Canada. And it's nice to have everybody on board, as usual. We, what else do we have? Matt, oops, I need to figure out how to route the audio from my browser elsewhere. I discovered that it was going out with my FT8 transmissions. Oh, really? Oops. Jill and the handbands. Hearing my voice while someone is sending out FT8. Toby Allen, the other night I was listening to the Russian beep station. I just wondered, has anybody else heard Morse code on the channel while the beep is there? Also, I heard Morse code clearly on the frequency. There are some really interesting Morse code signals from Russia, like channel, all sorts of channel beacon. My cat is, Paul is actually putting his paw on my leg, saying, "Hey, I want something." I guess he wants food, maybe. We'll be waiting. Let's see if he comes over and says hi to everybody. Whoa, what was that? A sneeze. Come on. Wanna come over? Yeah, I know it's new. There's a microphone, something you didn't see before. Come on. People want to see you. Here we go. Mr. Paul is here. Wondering what that is. And here is Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul the cat, for your enjoyment. So, and wondering what is that? So, everybody wants to see you, my friend. So, there's a lot. So, like I was saying, there's a lot of Morse code signals and all sorts of weird signals coming out of Russia, and even 4625 is interesting because when I heard the buzzer this week on 4625 a few times weekly, and I gotta say that sometimes there's some interesting other types of transmissions really close. You know, if you tune from 4620 to 4630, you'll be surprised at the amount of things that can happen in that little 10 kilohertz. Sheldon installed his MLA30 magnetic loop, and he says the results are amazing. My Kenwood R5000 has come to life. It is cool, and I'm amazed by that antenna, and I'm glad that you got one, and that you'll be probably now happy to do more listening on your Kenwood at home. It's fun to tune in the SDRs online, but nothing like getting the signals in our own receiver. And I mean, that antenna for the price is just crazy good. Really crazy good. I'm a little surprised at some people that are actually saying, "Hey, you know what? I bought the MLA30 and it's crappy and it doesn't work well." And I'm like, I don't get it because it just works great here. So and even Sheldon now has got it installed and he loves it. So it is amazing. It is really amazing. And, it's just the right size, not too big, and it doesn't attract too much of attention from the neighbors, Not like the W6LVP. McGlone, nice to have you on board from West Florida. PLF Radio, no, last Friday I was at a Canadian football game with my nephews. So we went to a restaurant and had then went to the football game. So that's why I didn't have any shows last Friday. So it's some of those things that sometimes you need to take time off and do something. So Rufus Newt says. Okay, let me just go here. Okay, Matambali says, just had our second snow a couple of days ago here. Rufus Newt says, we may get flurries tonight in the Laurentian Valley in Ontario. Wow. Fish escape. Lots of freak cold down here. Some parts of Nevada and South California. 14 Fahrenheit and getting snow during the day earlier this month. Wow. There was that's something. Kevin Wood, nice to have you here, my friend. Joseph Ivankovich Jr., W8JXQ, nice to have you on board. And thanks for the microphone. Yeah, the audio of this microphone is great. I was talking I saw Fastload yesterday at the karaoke bar. We had a few beers and talked, and we were talking about my microphone. And he was telling me how amazing the sound is with my microphone. So, more professional. Slowly we're getting there, getting more professional in what we do. Redelva65, nice to have you on board from New York City. Steve Wynn, nice to have you on board from Lakewood, Colorado. Levy Nathan, nice to have you on board. And, yeah, I know it takes a chunk of the screen. I do agree that is probably the negative effect of this microphone. The fact that it does take quite a big chunk of the screen. So, the microphone will take less once Paul the cat is moving out of the frame, and I'll put the camera back up. So I'll try to minimize. Catalin Halb, nice to have you on board, my friend. Andy RC, nice to have you here. Afternoon show and all regulars. Still didn't catch you last week. Just watching a documentary about the greatest railway journeys in the world. Vancouver to Banff on UK TV. Cool. So, no, last week I wasn't here, like I was saying at last Friday. Mickey Delmage, nice to have you here from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. Almost got the inverted V up for 80 meters. JD Williamson, nice to have you here. 3830 Radio Man, nice to have you on board. Recray, nice to have you here from Turkey. Andy RC says CQ Worldwide SSB starts tonight at 0 UTC. That's true. That's also something to look for this weekend. CQ Worldwide single sideband contests will start in what is it? It's 4, so in 4 hours from here, about 4 hours from here, less than 4 hours from here, we're gonna start having lots of signals on the handbands. One of the contests that I love tuning around and listening to. There's so many things in there, so many things. Ronald says, since my last 6 months ago, I have to crown the XH Data the very best portable that has ever been released, period, after reviewing 29 receivers. It is an amazing radio, the XH Data. Keisha Escape, what UTC time is the Gilles show going to be at Halloween? So, what are you doing? Stop putting your scent on the microphone. So the show will start at 20 UTC on Halloween night. So next week, three shows. We'll have the Wednesday show at 0 UT. We'll have Halloween show Thursday, 31st of October at 20 UT. And we'll have the Friday show at 20 UT also. So 3 times you'll see my face next week and hear my voice. David, KJ4CMY, nice to have you on board. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. Let me just go down slowly. Can you boot Paul's nose on camera, please? Oh, man. Brian Penny says, Voice of Iran must have upgraded their equipment lately. Their audio has actually been copyable daily at 1920. I need to check that out. Because usually the signal's there. but the audio is not there. That's the biggest problem of Iran. It's a little bit like, yeah. One thing that I haven't noticed. Anybody noticed Radio Cairo lately on shortwave? Because I usually get their signal with distortion or no audio at all, but I have the impression they have not been on shortwave. I have the impression that Radio Cairo is off shortwave. Anybody have heard them lately? I'm kind of curious. NERC audio so much clearer with the new mic. Yep. The only thing is very directional, so I got to be careful because if I move out of the cameras, the microphones, kind of directional pattern, it fades quite fast. Juan amigo, ¿cómo está mi amigo from Spain? Nice to have you here. Matambale is going to ask for an MLA30 for his birthday. Cool. Really cool. PageMaster says I have two MLA30 antennas connected to my SDR Play RSP1A. Cool. Bobby Burgess wants an MLA30 for Christmas. Man, William Helms, nice to have you here from Florida. Bobby Burgess wants a new elec. PLF radio, is it possible to use the MLA30 with portable radios with antenna jack input on medium wave? The problem with the portables is a lot of the portables, I believe, do not use the antenna input on for medium wave listening. So that's the biggest problem of portables. A lot of them don't. Once you're on medium wave, you're actually using the inner loop. But there's an experiment that I want to do because of the AN200 loop antenna. I actually tried it, and I'll try it again a little more. So the AN200 Texan loop has a input where you can plug in. So say you got a long wire antenna, you can actually plug it in to the loop to couple with the portable receivers on medium wave or AM. So I was thinking, if I put the MLA30 loop in it and use the tuning capability of the loop, maybe that would kind of make the possible use of the MLA30 with my portable receivers on medium wave through induction. So, but apart from that, I need to test more the MLA30 on medium wave also. Catalin Alps says, new loop antenna from UK cross country wireless loop antenna for $70 US. Klaus, nice to have you on board from the Bavaria border. Nice to have you here. Yeah, my video game nephew, Kish Escape. And actually, we're gonna do a few things. I got something this week, which is a. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit here. It's a kind of a remake of the old Atari console, and so I purchased that and got it this week, and it has 110 original Atari 2600 games. It comes with 2 joysticks and everything, and I'm just gonna put things back to normal with the camera. So it is, of course, very a lot of fun. I've been, of course, playing with it and having fun. Yesterday, almost played all day on video games. So he's coming over next week for some videos. We do videos for different phones. He has access to tons of phones, and we're gonna play some games. So yeah, the video game nephew, absolutely. So David KJ4CMY says no flurries in the Atlanta region, 68 Fahrenheit today. That's just perfect. That's just perfect, honestly. Around 70, it's like perfect, outside activity weather. Bring a radio outside and do some radio listening. PLF radio, yeah, I had a lot of fun at the football game. We had really a lot of fun. We went to a restaurant, and also I seen my other nephew, Francois, that I had not seen in a long time because he, for those that remember, one of my nephews was in Australia for a while, and now he's back. So I had not seen him since he came back from Australia, for sure. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here. And yeah, that's the thing. The external jack is usually FM and shortwave only for the most part. So, and yeah, from what I understand, the GP5, Conicom GP5 SSB is apparently an exception to the rule. So, well, it is an exception to the rule. That's why there's a loop antenna on it. And I have yet to plug in the MLA30 on the Conicom GP5 and tune medium wave. Hopefully it's not going to overload too much. Kishescape, Man Reader DXer, nice to have you on board. Says you got yourself an Atari flashback console. What do you think of compared to the original thing? You know what? It's surprising. Even the imitation of the joysticks is pretty cool. I've been having a lot of fun. Honestly, I find that it's a nice Atari flashback. And I played the original when I was young. I didn't have one, but my one of my friends had one, and we were playing. We would play with games all the time. And some of the games in there are games that we were playing back then. I remember Pitfall and Jungle Hunt, and of course they are part of the Atari console, flashback console here. Actually, overall, I'm very, very happy. And I can play some of these original games that I played in the past. It's very, very nice. The only thing that I maybe hate, but it's understandable at the same time because they keep the same games really, is the fact that they are, like on this screen here, the main menu with all the games takes the full screen. But when you play the games, it actually puts the game in a square in the middle of the screen. Probably because the resolution is so crappy for these old games that they kept the size to so it looks okay, But no, I'm really happy. Honestly, very happy. I got it. I didn't want to. I had seen it many times, but everywhere I would see it, it was like $60. I thought $60 was a little high, even though it's really nice. And I saw one on eBay for $30 plus $5 shipping. So I thought, you know what? Why not at that price? Okay, you reached my price point. So I ordered one, and I'm really happy. Mark Elford, nice to have you here. Anyone on the board know of a good, safe, manual download site for old shortwave radios? You could try. There are a few that I have seen. Off my top of my head like this, I'm not really. I don't remember the links, but Shannon Harvey says Radio Recep Erdogan Turkish station on 11520 right now. One of two stations broadcasting during the Turkish Kurdish conflict. Radio Denge Welat is the Kurdish station, often on the same frequency. Yeah, I got your email yesterday, and I was. Let me just check it out here. Yeah, it's not very strong here. I can hear it in the noise. Let's try the. I'm getting maybe a little better with the W6LVP, but it's still pretty much in the noise here. Now that I have my antenna switch where I can switch between the two antennas quickly. Donald Hosmer is in northern Michigan, W8SWL. What else do we have? Terry Cook says the current wars opens at theaters today. Edison, Westinghouse, and Tesla. Looks pretty good. Interesting. Might be an interesting movie to check. Radio Comms, nice to have you here. Just bought a FTDX 1200 last week. Better than his FT 950. Cool. Well, Paul is always chill. Gordon Treadwell, nice to have you here. VE6 GPT. Nope, not yet. I need to find time for that. Yeah, Matt, that's what I was thinking. Radio Cairo seems to have been off the air pretty much on all of their frequencies for a while. I wonder if they're maybe they're never going to come back. Anyways, they were just wasting money because we couldn't, most of the time, 95% of the time, we just couldn't understand a thing they were saying. So, yeah, we need to check if they're on the B19 schedule. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to have a second mic. Actually, what I want to do is feed the audio. That's one of the things I would want to do. Maybe feed the audio of my receiver to the input microphone input jack of the laptop, and I could switch between my mic and the audio when I listen to stuff. Because right now this is so directional that it doesn't have the same effect as when I would actually be doing it before the microphone would pick up, everywhere. William Moser, nice to have you here. Chris Freitas, nice to have you on board from North Fort Myers, Florida. And he's still waiting for fall to happen. Here it's pretty, here it happened. Probably the last week or so that we'll have leaves in the trees. If there's a windstorm this week, I think pretty much all the leaves will be gone. René Charbonnier, nice to have you on board, my friend. Sheldon Arby says station 5K 0K from San Andres in Provincia on 14270. So now, Sheldon, you know what? You are... Let me just check it out here in the background. Now you are going to use your Kenwood more often. I have the impression with the new antenna, MRL, nice to have you on board from Spain. Michael Satterfield, nice to have you on board. Just ordered an MLA 30 for New York New Texan PL 880 for his new Texan PL 880. You're going to have a lot of fun. Jose Manuel Navarro, nice to have you on board from Cordoba, Spain. Chris says, love the sound quality of the new mic. I got so many comments of that, even on some videos on my other channels, people saying, wow, that sounds so good now. It's time I get more professional on the stuff that I do, actually. It's getting serious enough that I need to be serious about it also. Chris Freitas, Keisha Escape says, miss Radio Australia. Amazing signal. Yeah, I do miss Radio Australia too. Chris Freitas says that it was barely below 90 Fahrenheit today, but it's now 82 thanks to a brief shower. Yes, I need to do a walk in the park with the county com. Maybe tomorrow, Saturday. I'm going to try to do that. Sheldon Harvey, other ham stations on currently from Greenland, Comoros Islands, Faroe Islands, Pitcairn Islands, Seychelles, and many odd DX locations gearing up for the contest. It's going to be a lot of fun to tune the contest. Let's hope the propagation is good. Really, really cool. What else do we have? William Conlon, how come I can't get on Wednesday or Friday sometimes? Well, you should normally have, if you remember the time. I remember the Wednesday show is not at the same time as the Friday show. It's at 0 UT. William Moser says, last night I found an immersed station on 31 meters last night. That was strange. There are some in different parts of the spectrum. Mad Radio DXer says, yeah, the original games were a 4:3 ratio on old CRTs. That's why they kept it like that. Yep. Yeah, they would have looked bad if they would have been stretched, for sure. But what's nice is that the output, with HDMI makes it easy to plug to the TV. It's really nice. Honestly, I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. What else do we have? What's the secret of getting on this chat room? Well, you're in the chat room. Keisha Escape says, anyone remember hearing those weird ops messages on 10405 all through the year in 2011? There's a lot of, and you know what we got to understand is there's so many things that aren't necessarily registered out there, and that are all different frequencies. What we have on the shortwave lists on the internet is a big chunk of what's available, but there are some stuff that's not on frequency lists, and that when you start to tune around regularly, you find all of these weird signals that you don't have any mention anywhere. Not counting that there's so many signals on shortwave that are, once in a time you listen to something that's not going to be there after. Crazy. Rufus Newt, yeah, Alouettes beat the Argonauts. Yep. James Powers, nice to have you on board from New Hampshire, KC1ENJ. Antoine, nice to have you on board, testing his new ICOM ICR30. Def at HF with stock whip, VHF and above okay. Good results listening to ham stats to be continued. Cool. The R20 is like that also. You can't really say it's very good with the included whip on HF. And honestly, the R20 is, in general, not that great on HF. I had to test it with my loop antenna. Gordon Treldwell V6 GPT says, I keep hearing a lot of VE2s every day, so I'm sure I can work you on one day. Oh, for sure. I hear a lot of Western Canada stations. It's amazing when you think about it. When you think about it, and sometimes I hear a station from British Columbia, VE7 or VE6, and you start looking at the map and you realize that it's as far away listening to that it is to listen to signals from Europe, and it's still in the same country. That always amazes me, and just like, wow, Canada's huge. Jerry DX, nice to have you here, my friend. Anish Charbonnier says, can you also receive UVB76 buzzer in Canada? I received it twice this week. It's still a little early for that here, but I put it on 4625. Don't hear anything right now. It's interesting to see the noise patterns there. But I heard it twice this week. Not very strong, but you definitely, it's so unique. You definitely hear it. Lee Burkett, nice to have you here. Says, Jerry DX says, I can see you today. Lee Burkett says, listening to my shortwave radio, my contract with my internet provider is ending shortly. So I'm shopping around a bit. I hope you get a good deal. I had to call the company. I'm with a company called Videotron, and I called them about 7 or 8 months ago because I had a kind of 4-year deal with them, and it ended, and my bill went up like $50 a month. So I was paying like almost $200 per month for cable plus internet. So I called him up and said, "Look, $200 a month is kind of super expensive for what you're offering me, especially on the TV side where I almost never watch anything because TV is just so crappy." And so at first they said, "Well, we can't do really anything about it, blah blah blah." And I complained. I said, I don't mind changing companies, And so he said, "Well, wait a minute. I'm gonna actually transfer you to somebody else." And that other person actually had more powers than it was a woman, and she said, "You know what? I'm gonna do a deal with you. You've been with us for a long time." So she actually was able to put me like if I was a new client. Often new clients have these offers to lure them to their services. So she said, "Look, I'm gonna put your internet speed higher, but it's gonna cost you less. I'll put you on a plan like you would be a new customer and so on." So it went back down to 100 and so it was about at 200. It went back down to about 145 a month right now for exactly the same thing except faster internet access. I'm scared of changing company because one of the biggest fears that I have is with the live streams. The live streams need to be very rock solid, and that is something that I need to think about. If I change company, will my feeds still be good quality? Or, I don't want to have buffering or anything. And one thing that I know with the company I am with right now is that that service is really good. And so I do the live shows and they work well. So, there's always that fear. Yeah, J.D. Williamson, that's one of the things I was thinking about. I actually was eyeing a couple of mixing boards on... there's a store not far from here where I buy electronic parts. And they have a nice choice of mixing boards, and absolutely I was thinking of purchasing something like that. Absolutely. So PLF Radio, news about 3 Texan receivers. So look interesting here. So there would be the PL330, PL990, and H501. Kind of interesting. The PL330 latest and the PL3XX line, which has primarily been DSP based ultralight receivers. Yeah, does look has a PL380-ish look somehow. A little more, maybe a little more modernized, but kind of interesting. So PL330 gets selectable sidebands. Texan H501 is a new model that was previously referred to as the Texan S9900. Interesting. Does that mean I'll have to buy new Texan receivers to review? That looks like it. New Texan radios. Autism 1010 AM. I can get 11820 Saudi Arabia in Georgia with great reception. Yeah, it usually packs in a pretty good signal, my friend. Welcome aboard. Yeah, it's actually very good right now. It is definitely there. on 11,820. It's pretty strong. Saudi Arabia. JDX. JDX says, I just repaid my neighbor with 20 tons of leaves. Manuel Montes. Nice to have you on board. Saludo. And nice to have you on board, my friend. Tony Turtle. Nice to have you here. David in Barcelona. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Nice studio mic, Shell. Sounds really good indeed. Now the only thing you need is to get your ticket and hook it up to the FT450. Tony Turtle says, I had a QSO from Michigan to Winnipeg this morning. Oh, cool. Ronald Dakota says, can anyone shed any info on what has happened to WBCQ? It had such a strong signal, but now gone. Well, there's a lot of it has to do, Ronald, with the changing propagation, okay? Because depending on the time of the year, of course, the propagation changes. So there are, like for example, for me, 7490 is easy to listen to most of the time for me in the summer, but is almost impossible in the winters. And I'm actually relatively close to Monticello, Maine here in Montreal. So a lot of the signals from WBCQ here are actually jumping over, they're skipping over me. In the Superstation, they tested a week and a half ago or something like that, 2 weeks ago, on 11.720 for a bit, but weren't back on. They're not back on yet, and I think they're having really a lot of problems getting that transmitter on the air. Hopefully tonight I'll be able to listen in to the Alan Wiener show and see if he talks about it a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of not super good. Ian Collins says, got rid of my SDR at last. I'm actually happy with the SDR. I really like it. It's different, I think, and I think, like I was saying in the past, there's people that are there's some people that are happy with SDRs, and some people that actually better with like tabletops or portable receivers more, and it's all right. And I mean, we can't all. It would be a boring world if we all loved the same thing. DDog845, listening to Londonderry, New Hampshire. Listening in. Keisha Escape TV crappy. Yeah, TV is crappy. I do. I keep cable, but honestly, I could just. What's my internet speed? I got 120 megabits down, 20 megabits up. Right now, this is the speed that I got. So 120 megabits down and 20 megabits up. I gotta have, because I'm the reverse of everybody. The problem is, for most people need fast download to have a good access to the internet. But with what I do, uploading videos to YouTube and doing live shows, I'm the other way around. I need a fast upload speed. And that's where I need to get better and more expensive internet. Because in order to get good upload speeds, I got to get a bigger internet access. So before I was... before I called him up, I was on 60 megabits down and 10 megabits up. And once I called to complain, well, they upped me to 120 megabits down, 20 megabits up. It actually cost me less. Radioactive, yeah, thank you. Nice microphone. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Catalin Help says PL990, new expensive toy. For what? It's better than PL880. You know, that's the thing. It's not necessarily, better. It's to keep up with, trying to make better radios, and there's competition also. I'm pretty sure Texan looks at the XH Data D808 and says, "Wow, we gotta up our offering and have something that has the same capabilities and the same bandwidths, and they have to stay in the competition." And it's interesting because, if we look at the fact that they have new receivers, I think it's telling us that they are selling radios. You're not introducing new radios all the time if you ain't selling radios. And that means Texan is probably selling a lot of radios. F70107 Radio, bonjour. Merci d'être parmi nous. C'est un grand plaisir. And nice to have you here. Yeah, Kiwi SDRs are fun. F7107. It's really, really nice to have these Kiwi SDRs in tune around from different places around the world. So, really nice. Calvin, nice to have you here, my friend. William Conlon, do YouTube inform that the service is up and running? Well, if you are on YouTube and you are logged in with a Gmail account, you have the ability to tell YouTube to notify you of when videos are posted and live shows are posted. Yeah, I've seen a few videos with the Texan PL990. Keisha Escape, Alan Wiener's crazy hippie. V3KRP, nice to have you here, my friend. And thank you very much, Fastedi in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Robert Babcock, nice to have you here, my friend. W0RAB in Connecticut. Nice to have you guys on board. You know what? I see a few names here. Let's do a little something here. Hey, Fastedi. Promotion. Moderator. How about it? Nice to have you on board. Casper Peterson. Yep. Here, right now, my bill's about 100, close to 150. It's crazy expensive here in Canada. We are known to have the most expensive cable and internet bills in the world here in Canada. That and cell phones. To give you an idea, what I got on my phone here, and I have a second phone on the same account with less capabilities, but still I pay $140 a month for my service, my cell service. Crazy expensive. And and you're gonna laugh because a lot of countries have so much more bandwidth. I pay, so just for that I pay $80 a month if I don't count the other account. $80 a month, and I am allowed to only 11 gigabytes of data. 11 gigabytes of data per month. And my friend, my nephew Francois, was telling me that when he was in Australia, he had 60 gigabytes a month available on his phone there, and it cost something like $40 or $50. It's like, yeah, I know, we're getting screwed here in Canada with our services. Actually, cell services and internet services were part of the election campaign. Some were promising to try to lower the prices of the different services because it's too expensive. Kish Escape. Yeah, I use exclusively 5 gigahertz on my router because to get the maximum speed. If I want to reach a maximum speed, because on N it barely it can't reach on N it can't reach 120 megabits on N when I use well, I'm always on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and that gives me full internet speed. Yeah, Casper Peterson. That's pretty much. I got crazy amount of channels on my cable, and I barely. If I start zapping channel per channel, I barely find something interesting to listen to. I end up when I go in the living room and watch something, it's very simple. I end up either watching Netflix or some YouTube videos, pretty much, and some tech channels that I watch online. Arthur's Alley Crafter's Kitchen. Nice to have you here, my friend. Greeting from the hospital. I've been here for the last 2 days. Heart issues. Massachusetts does have great healthcare at a price, but thank goodness for Wi-Fi for patients. So I hope you're going to get better, my friend. Really get better, my friend. And nice that at least, you can be watching this. And hospital is always kind of the boring place where you never know. You get bored doing nothing. At least now you can watch the show and you can do things. That's cool. Time passes fast. Rob, nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona. Kevin Wood says, well, Arthur, welcome to the Coronary Care Club. I'm not there yet, but I do have to take care. I got medication for high blood pressure, and recently added a medication for high cholesterol. But everything's all right. Radioactive says non-EAM traffic on 11175. Let's tune 11175 and see. We leave it there in the background instead of listening to the Holy Quran on Saudi Arabia. I think it'll be more entertaining to have this. See if anything's here. Kishascape says, hey Joel, do you like to use the global tuners too? Some nice full communications receivers on there. Oh yeah, I've got an account, and actually it was lack of time because this week I was thinking seriously of setting up my ICOM ICR 8500 and leaving it and adding it to global tuners, so you guys could tune in on global tuners and listen into the full spectrum of shortwave up to UHF, VHF, UHF. It's nice because these are kind of more, real tabletop type communication receivers rather than SDRs. Jason Shaughnessy, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Rufus Newt, Canadian connection fees, cell phones, internet, and TV are completely crazy. Tio, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pagemaster says, I figured out what was wrong with my Radio Shack World receiver. It was a broken trace on the input power side where the battery voltage travels on. So the radio is working. Cool. Oh yeah, Casper Peterson. Holy crap. I can tell you that. Costs a fortune here. A fortune. Calvin says, wow, here in Ireland, top 20 pounds in unlimited data usage. Man. I would take that. It's totally crazy here. It's really totally crazy here. We are being screwed by the big companies. Sheldon Harvey says Saudi Arabian station Al Azam Radio 11745 in Arabic. And it's interesting. I wonder, do we hear it? Did I hear something? I got nothing here, but interesting. Are you listening to that on your Kenwood, Sheldon? Because if you are, I'm jealous. I have nothing. I have a very, very weak trace of something here, and that's it. Holy Lab, nice to have you on board from Germany. Pretty cool. It's crazy here. I mean, you know what? That's the problem is that you got, I gotta always be careful, the data that I have every month and stuff. It's just crazy. David KJ4CMY. There's a guy named Gilles who has some really good videos. Check him out sometimes. Oh, man. Kish Escape says, yes, USA is like third world country internet. Imagine data caps on a cable connection. And you know what? We used to have data caps, and actually the basic internet access of most companies have data caps. Here I'm paying actually a $20 premium to have unlimited data on my internet at home. If I don't pay that $20 premium, I think I'm allowed 400 gigabytes maximum on what I'm with the internet right now. I was looking at my data on one of my a few times, a few months. I would say on average I download or upload roughly from 400 to 600 gigabytes a month. And the funniest part is because I do YouTube stuff. So when you look at what I do, people that usually have, download 500 gigabytes a month, download stuff. But in my case, it's, if I have 500 gigabytes of data in a month, I will have about 350 gigabytes upload. Just tells you how much videos and stuff I put on YouTube and the live shows and everything. A typical live show like this, when it lasts about 3 hours, will have will be about 5 gigabytes in size of upload. Radioactive medication for beer pressure. Yeah. Radioactive says, I just switched to 8992. Much better reception. I'll try 8992. I'm not hearing anything right now, but we'll see if there's something popping up. Casper Peterson still use U20 as my reference SDR. It is just an amazing SDR. I gotta say, it really is an amazing SDR. Oh yeah, Kisha Escape on it's a 8500 that I have, not 8600. And I want to put it online. I know that a lot of you would love to tune it. And it would be nice because it would be pretty much the only receiver here in Montreal, Quebec that is online. William Moser, my SDR on my computer is a SDR Play RSP1A. JD Williamson, I wonder why internet is so slow everywhere else but the Netherlands and Germany. We're at gigabit speeds. Yeah. There is one explanation, JD Williamson, that I have seen once. A lot of the infrastructure here in North America, because a lot of what happened with technology, we were kind of first. And that is nice because we were the first ones to get certain types of technologies. But it also means that we needed to upgrade that technology, which costs a lot of money. And a lot of countries in Europe have, when they started giving the access and everything, already started with much better technology because they did it later, so they had the faster technology. And apparently that is one of the reasons that keeps us a little behind now on the speeds and everything. Because I know, I was reading a article of someone that lives in Tokyo, Japan, and he was explaining in Japan it's gigabit speeds for like $20 a month and unlimited data. And you look at that and you're like, wow, really? This is completely nuts. Gigabit speeds for $20 a month, I do believe gigabit speed exists with the company that I'm with, Videotron, and even Bell. But it's so expensive here, you just don't go there. Just the internet would cost, a gigabit speed internet here would cost probably like $200 a month. Jeff Barrett, nice to have you here. Bagoon Shortwave DX SM68481. Got a RSP1A for birthday. Any opinions on HF? It's amazing. You're going to love it. It's an amazing SDR. Jersey Bound, nice to have you on board. Oops. I'm just going to look here because I just bumped the camera with my foot. Let me just replace it back to normal. Here we go. So you guys can at least see the clock. So, hey, already an hour gone. You're watching the live shortwave show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Trimbali, Mr. Bale, nice to have you on board. John Harvey says 11745 is weak but coming in. Paralleled in on online SDR in New Jersey to confirm. Wow, cool. So you got better reception than me. I'm going to be jealous of your reception now, Sheldon. I should never have talked about that MLA 30. Well, you know what, Sheldon? I'm happy that you are having fun with your radio again because of the loop. And, that's the reason why... I do this. If oh, there's some communications on 8992. I just heard some communications on 8992. So, when I hear somebody that has purchased something that I talked about and is super happy, well, it just tells me, wow, this is so cool. I'm doing my job here on the channel with that. I got some. I bought a case of beer. They have a new case with different types of beer in it, and there's one that I want to try now. It's a little high in alcohol. It's 10%, but this is a new one that I have never tasted before. So, La Résolution, or the Resolution, it's a 10% beer. So, Belgian-style dark beer, it says. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to try that. I'm not going to have 3 10% beers because I'm going to be drunk. But one mixed in with the... Oh, man, I can't open it. Here it goes. Ow. Okay. Here we got it. So let's check it out here. Let's check that out. It's making a lot of... just going to let it... Oh, man, it smells like licorice. It has that interesting smell to it. William Conlon, do you have software for the 450D? No, I need to check out and plug that to the computer. I need to check it out. And really plug it to the computer. Because that could also be an interesting thing to plug in the Yaesu. And have it, alternate between the ICOM and the Yaesu on the... So some communications on 8992. I really want to. I got a computer now here, a desktop computer that is doing nothing, and I would like it to do something. And I think using the desktop and plugging in the icon and having a 24-hour day access on global tuners, I think it could be a lot of fun. Sid Vic, nice to have you on board, my friend. Casper Peterson, the U20 mobile version runs so smooth on my iPad Air. Can recommend it for anybody to listen. What you can hear in Europe. So really, it works well. Cool. There's the Kiwi SDRs are not always fun to listen to. I have a good experience listening to Kiwi SDRs. Let me just try the U20 here. By the way, thanks for sharing, David, on Twitter that I am live. I always forget to post that I'm live on Twitter. I need to up the game on that and post it all the time. Let's see here. I'm going to use the Chrome browser. And check out U20 SDR. See if it works well. And I'm going to tune the... oh yeah, it works pretty good. Click here to start audio. Yeah, it works great. Really works great. Let me try to tune in 11745. Go. AM. Really works well. So this is on my Galaxy S9 Plus. So I got the U20 SDR running. So you guys can. Where's the audio coming from? Okay, from here. So you got this right now. So pretty good reception of that. Oh, it really works well. Oh, I was on the regular. Oh, look at that. There's the mobile version of this site. That's what you're talking about. Oh, it works great. Oh, it does work great. So here's the mobile version of the site. And it's nice because it really fits well the... And that's nice. That's nice. I'm going to have to check that out a little more. Matt says decent signal from WBCQ 7490 with behavior night now. Let's check it out here. I rarely hear it very well. So I've got, as usual, absolutely no reception of WBCQ. Lots of activity on 40 meters. There's a lot of stations on 40 meters, and there's a lot of stations on 40 meters, and I think it is due to the fact that, the contest is going to start at 0 UTC. But lots of activity on 40 meters right now. Pretty amazing. Kishascape, do you still use the Fedri SDR? I saw on some of your old videos in show archives. A fast load has it. And he's using it as a pen adapter with the Kenwood R5000. Because when I got the RSP1A, I didn't really know what to do with the Fedri. And I thought, well, if somebody's going to use it, he's going to use it. So he's using it. We do these little exchanges of tech stuff. He's got a RTL SDR for me that he wants to give me. So I'm gonna have to meet up for some stuff. Yeah, but Trimbali, I don't fall for the tremendous amount of, one of the excuses here. One of the excuses here is that, well, Canada, the it's so big and that's why it's costing. Yeah, look, I'm sorry, but look at Australia, and it costs much less than here. It's crazy. Pilaf Radio says there are some QNDR SDRs in Canada, but it's true, none in Quebec. Yeah, that's the thing. There would be a Montreal Quebec receiver. It's noisy, but it's still you can tune around. Oh wow. Oh man, this beer is amazingly good. It's licorice and it's funny because it tastes a little bit spicy, like I don't know if it's for Halloween or something, but it's wow. This beer is amazing. Wow. Sorry guys, got distracted by my beer. I haven't had a beer that tastes so good. And usually dark beers I'm not a big fan of. This one is, man, amazing. F4 IDL, nice to have you on board from France. My internet connection is fiber optic up to the end of the street, and the rest, just the little part of connection here, is actually a coaxial cable. It's really a coaxial cable. Yeah, I have to put the fiber optic stuff. That one I actually accept as an excuse, that some of the reasons why some of our connectivity is slow is because since we were some of the first in the world to get it, we have older technology, and it costs an amazing amount of money to replace the technology with the newer stuff. We just barely a year ago here. So I used to be with Bell before, and Bell was DSL. And DSL I hated because, it's the copper wires of the telephone. So DSL was uneven in speed. And you know what? They, just a year ago, not even 6 months ago, I think, put the fiber optic here. There was no fiber optic until about 6 months ago. So we're kind of behind in the technology here. Joey D, nice to have you here. Loop antennas are very popular now. They make AM radio sound like FM. Almost no trace of static. Ratambale, or shortwave. So let me just go back because I lost my spot here. So, okay, let's continue. Samantha Ballet says our shortwave and beer tester. Joey D from New Jersey, USA. D-Dog 845, get drunk. Roughest nude, after 10% beer, you will have a resolution. Yeah. Absolutely. If you can't open your own beer, you shouldn't have it. Oh, man. David Snyder, nice to have you on board. And he's got his SDR on SDR Play RSP1A on Global Tuners. Brent 151 run is always good. Yeah, I have to go for it for the Global Tuners. Oh yeah, Global 24. I remember that, Antoine. I remember the excitement of like, oh wow, something new is happening on Shortwave. But man, that was it was an operation. You know what? It's interesting because over time I've read a lot about what that was, and it seems that Global 24. So there was a website and there were different emails for apparently different people that were in different. It looked like a big operation, but I was reading that most people kind of after a little while noticed that. In reality, Global 24 was one guy. And I don't know, he thought the biggest problem on shortwave broadcasting is thinking that you can make money off of it. And that doesn't work. You cannot monetize shortwave. So you got to understand that if you decide to start a station, nobody's gonna have ads on your station. It's the way it is, and you can't really prove or show an audience. On AM or FM, they have these ratings, and of course the ratings can be used for advertisement money, and the more popular you are, the more money you'll get. On shortwave, you have no idea. Italy Uniform 2, Italian station on 7140 lower sideband. Really strong here. 7140 lower sideband. So, on shortwave, you don't know how many people are listening in. You don't even know if people are listening in half of the time, unless you get reports and stuff. So you can't really monetize because you can't tell anyone, hey, there's 1 million people listening. You have no idea. But, it didn't last long. Apparently, they didn't pay their bills. Apparently, Global 24 was on the air, and WRMI gave them their time. And even if they didn't pay the bills, they accepted to kind of like, okay, well, let it go. You owe us money, more and more money. And eventually when it disappeared, it's because WRMI pulled the plug. But apparently, WRMI didn't get a penny. WRMI got screwed by the Global 24 thing. Keegan, nice to have you here in Northwest Arkansas. Web SDRs are better than the Kiwi ones, in my opinion. Well, it depends. It depends on the setup, honestly. Johnny the Xer, nice to have you on board. W3JMC, yep, new microphone, absolutely. Kevin Owen doesn't get WBCQ in Nova Scotia either. Hey Vince Perrault, salut. Bonjour et bienvenue. Toujours un plaisir. Keegan is at Ozark Natural Foods Co-op in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Just finished with lunch and drinking Tazo tea. Man, this beer is good. Jim Bally, Mr. Bell's on 15770. Yeah, that is a very dark beer, absolutely. He says KD ICOM 8500 with W6LVP or MLA would be one of the best global tuners known out there. It's going to be on the W6LVP. I'll pretty much leave it on the W6LVP. And also, it will be VHF UHF with the mobile vertical in my backyard. So I have to take the time. Maybe, I need to take the time this weekend and set it up and put it on global tuners for sure. It looks like soy. It looks like soy sauce with whipped cream. It does look like soy sauce, I gotta say. It's as dark as soy sauce. Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you on board, and you do see a new microphone, absolutely. My beautiful voice is now full scale in its frequency range. Hey, we're 155 viewers right now. Kind of cool. Come on, let's move that up to 200. Call your friends, your family. Let them know and watch. Keisha Escape says you can monetize shortwave. You need to be a preacher and have. Yeah, but I don't think they monetize shortwave. I don't think they'd make money off of shortwave. Honestly, they're spending money on shortwave. They're not making money on shortwave. Gonna tell you that. Take care, PLF Radio. See you next week. Once again, 3 shows next week. Okay? Wednesday, 0 UTC, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, special Halloween pirate chasing show. And I don't wanna say anything, but you know what? I got an impression that something's gonna happen, and my voice might actually be on shortwave that night. I don't know, but maybe, just maybe. Casper Peterson says, by the way, I have an old channel. There are some videos with my Ethan 750. Casper Peterson, I want to... Yeah, just link it here. You've been here for a while, Casper. Let's give you moderator status. Also, Casper Peterson, here we go. Milroy Peter, I guess nice to have you here. I guess you will get better signal putting the MLA30 high as possible. Well, you know, the MLA30 is not necessarily better higher. It's better if you can actually... Okay, Mr. Kraft, come again. For those that missed Mr. Paul, here he is once again. You got more visits now. So, you know, Mr. Paul the Cat saying hi to everybody. Still wondering what that thing is. That's the microphone. So, like, you know, a loop antenna doesn't have to be very high, honestly. It's, yeah, technically better if it's higher than the you know, all the buildings around you, but most people put it up you know, 10-15 feet from the ground, and it performs really well. Mine is higher because I live on the 3rd floor here, so of course, you know, which is the top floor of this building, but it's you don't have to put it super high, honestly. So let's go here. Okay. WF7I Homebrew, nice to have you on board. And yeah, it's perfect. Joyeux vendredi. Perfect. Took French in high school, but now I rely on Google. No, that's perfect. Redelva 65 is getting the Italy station in New York City. What are you doing? Stop putting your scent on the microphone. It's not yours. Paul is trying to position himself to sleep on my... here you go. Here you go, my friend. Yeah. Yeah. You like it, eh? Here he goes. He wants to be comfy. So, anyways, we are, it's almost sexy, you know? Almost sexy. Whatever that means with a cat. What do we, okay, let me see where we are here in the chat, trying to... Yeah, but the followers are not. An example. WWN, the Catholic station on shortwave. They have that call show that where people can call in, and I listened a few times. I listened to that show for a couple of hours, and it was live. And people always mention where they're listening. And you know what? In 2 to 3 hours, I have not heard anyone mention they were listening on shortwave. Everybody was saying they're listening in on an AM station or an FM station somewhere. But absolutely no one was mentioning that they were listening on shortwave. So that's where I think monetization isn't very very good for that, for sure. You got a Shady Pyro 90. Take the time, guys, to put some videos. Put the time to put up some videos. Vince Perrault just ordered his MLA30. I can't wait to have it. Further and higher I put it, the better. Like I said, higher it doesn't matter. Hey, 166 viewers. Whoa! We're close to a record right now. Maybe it's Paul the cat. Everybody wants to see the cat. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I love you too. Isn't that cute? You're just looking at me like with these eyes, like I love you. So you don't have to put it very high, honestly. Loop antennas are not like regular antennas. They don't usually require to be put very high, honestly. CR, nice to have you on board from Brazil, PY2NN. Any of you guys, by the way, will be participating in the CQ Worldwide Contest this weekend? Any of you out there, ham operators, are going to do this? Just out of curiosity. R. Walker, nice to have you on board. Can't wait for the pirate show next week. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Keisha Escape, that's possible. Let's say that I got a feeling that I might be on shortwave. Kevin Wood, voice of the reporter of the week, must be committed to shortwave to keep buying time for his show. Yeah, but he's got a very, his YouTube channel is very popular. Much more popular than what I have. So he probably has maybe a little more money to invest in there. But, I remember hearing one of his shows where he was kind of asking for donations for, staying on. And it is interesting. I was listening to WWCR, Ask WWCR show. And they were saying that thanks to Voice of the Report of the Week, they actually had more of an idea of where they were being, where people were listening in around the world. Which is nice because, when you listen to that, you're like, yeah, that is weird that a station on shortwave doesn't know really where they're being heard. And Voice of the Report of the Week is interesting for that. It keeps them. They now know a lot more about where they're being heard all around the world. So okay, somebody's alarms just set off. Keegan has 4,000 views on his YouTube page as this morning. Cool. I've got... How much do I have? I've got... Let me just check it out here quickly. On my YouTube channel, I have, so this channel, let me just check it out. I'll tell you that in 2 seconds. So I got 18,108 subscribers. And I've got, where do I see the number of views? And I've got, overall, oh, I don't see that number here. So let's check it out here. So 18,100 subscribers, and I've got a total of 4,800,000 video views. So I'm almost at 5 million views on the channel and 18,000 subscribers. That's where I'm at. Not bad. Not bad. Glenn Zekman, nice to have you on board from Tennessee. Lil bro, so when does the radio start? What radio? We talk about radio. So let's put this back up. You guys don't want to see my big fat belly. And let's put the microphone back here. Man. Joey D says 770 AM WABC in New York City and 1010 WINS in New York City. You boom on almost every SDR I tune into. Here in Montreal, 770 is pretty good. It usually comes in really well. 1010 depends on the day. Sometimes it's WINS. Sometimes it's, but most of the time it's CFRB in Toronto here. So, well, Colin says Shaq looks much more professional with the mic. It does. Terry Cook, Paul wants to use his new scratching post. The Paul DX show with Joe. Hey Roberto, nice to have you here. DX the cat is here, yes. Joe, do you think those folks who call Brother Stairs number and get on air legit, or is that planned? You know, I think it's difficult to know, but I think probably, you know, that there are some people out there for sure, you know. Dr. Chester Cat 3905 radio. Ellis was up a few nights ago. Cool. ELIS. Yeah, Matambali. And I'm wearing the perfect t-shirt for Mr. Paul the Cat. Victor Osorio. Are there commercial stations in Australia that you know of? There's 4... What's the call sign? 4XZ on 5045 kilohertz. There's a couple of stations down on the bottom part of 5 megahertz from Australia. Dr. Chester Cat will be using the call G Golf Bravo 3 Radio Charlie. So Golf Bravo 3 Romeo Charlie. Cool. V3KRP says we'll be on and off for the contest looking for rare ones. Cool. David, studio mic plus Paul DX the cat equals epic viewership figures. Kevin Wynn never got into contesting. And I some people like it, some people don't. Keisha Escape. Don't start rumors now. We're going to start having fake news on my channel. Page Master says, both of my MLA 30 antennas are up about 4 feet above the roof. Never contested before. Okay. Never contested before. Maybe, if I had the time and I would have a ham ticket, maybe I would sometimes want a contest. Maybe I'd like, just for the fun of it. I'm a competitive guy. I'm the kind of guy that likes to kind of try to, be there. No, Matt, but what I was saying, Matt, is that I have a feeling on Halloween night I will be relayed somewhere. Just saying. Keisha Escape says, Voice of Reporter Week guy has been getting a lot of new people into shortwave hobby. I've been seeing people on his forums helping each other with portable text and receivers. It's great. I like his spirit. I like his way of doing things. I like his show. It's kind of a relaxed, just out there. Like what I do here, but on shortwave. I really like what he does. Voice of Reporter of the Week. He's been here in the chat room a few times. Even mentioned me on his show quite a few times. And I mean, I love Voice of Reporter of the Week. The Expeditions, nice to have you on board. Dave Belil, or Belial, WA1UJA in New Hampshire, nice to have you on board. So it's really, really nice to see that. Gatekeeper, nice to have you on board. Is that the pirate ship Radio Caroline's call sign? Rhyme Huron, nice to have you here from Tennessee. Vince Perro, maybe higher is further from home noises. That's for sure. If you can put it away from the noises from your home, that's for sure. But because it's a loop, what's nice is that you can null, so you can position it to have the lowest noise possible. Most of the setups or the instructions that I've seen is just position it to the lowest noise possible, pretty much. But of course you can put it on a rotor and have it, especially if you do medium wave. But yeah, of course, if you can get it really further away from the homes and electric cables, that for sure, to lower the noise is absolutely a good idea. If you can do that, yes. But there's a limit because it needs to be powered, so there's kind of a limit of how you can install it, really. Here it's on my balcony, really next to the house, and it's not bad. Gatekeepers in the UK, nice to have you here. Jerry, 132 subscribers, cool. 37,000 views. Pretty cool. Matt is, if I'm looking at the right thing, 27,300 views on this channel. Cool. PageMaster uses the W6LVP magnetic loop antenna for Radio Shack DX394. Cool. What's the antenna on my ICR20? Oh, man. It's, this is, bought that on eBay. Actually, this antenna is made for CB. So it's tuned for CB. It's really, really long. I'm not even opening all of it right now. So this is a 27 megahertz antenna made for CB. So I had purchased this because I wanted to put this on my walkie-talkies. And this week, I wanted to listen to a shortwave on the ICOM, on the ICR20. So I was thinking, I wonder how that CB antenna performs with the ICOM ICR20. So that's why that antenna is on the ICR20 right now. I wanted to use it as to see if I can tune shortwave a little bit more on the R20 with it. But you know what, Casper? Just go to your channel and copy the link on the top of your browser and just paste the link in the chat room, Casper. The Expedition still waiting for his ML830. Kisha Escape says DX394 really unique radio. I had a very, very. By the way, guys, I'm 15 minutes behind in the chat. Okay, just to let you know, I had an opportunity to get a Radio Shack DX394 at a really low price, but man, it was in between two jobs. I didn't have any money, and I remember looking at it and saying, "Man, I can't purchase it. I don't have a penny." Oh man. Little bro says, "Army matey," with a patch. Ryan here as a DX394 made some mods. Yeah, there's quite a few mods actually to the DX394. Okay, what else do we have? JR's Journey. Even if you were disconnected on the air, I bet you would be promoted versus reported by all. Discovered on the air. Oh, man. Man, that beer is so good. I'm amazed at that beer. Wow. I like that little spicy thing. VE3KRP has contested from 160 meters to 24 gigahertz. Wow, you got equipment to transmit on 24 gigahertz? There's ham bands on 24 gigahertz? I mean, the highest band that I kind of know of for ham is, I think I've seen something under 5 gigahertz range. Anyways, I don't have anything that goes higher than 3 gigahertz, so I can't really. I'd be curious to see that. Are there a lot of hams that actually go in the gigahertz range to transmit? Kevin Wood's going to Maui for Christmas. Want to take a radio? Oh yeah, man, that's gonna be great. Imagine what you're gonna hear there. Rufus Newt MLA30 is driving me crazy. Where to order? What is a quality product? I want one, but am unsure. Look, I'll give you the link, Rufus, to where I purchased. Okay, and anybody that wants to want one, look, I purchased from him. It took me I got it in a week, and he's a good eBay seller. So let me just check it out here. My eBay. And let me check that out. Whoops. I just... So MLA30. So here it is. So I purchased this from him, and here it says it's $44 US, approximately 57 Canadian, and free shipping. And he says he's got more than 10 available. He's got 43 sold, apparently. So I'll share with you guys the one with whom I purchased this loop. So the MLA30 loop I have purchased from this guy. So I hope the link works. I purchased two of them. All two arrived in a week. So you should be okay with that guy for sure, my friend. Trimbali says, got the same CB antenna. Well, bro says, well, the truth is I've been 80-40-20 shortwave pirate for 40 years, never had a problem. Well, on shortwave, I think is it's pretty safe in general if you just don't interfere with anybody else. Honestly, that's pretty much it. It's not like an FM pirate, that's easy to get. 7550 has a really wide Stanag. No, it's not Stanag, Trimbali. 7550 is DRM. I don't know if you can see it here. Yeah, it's there. This is all India radio in DRM mode. So what you're getting there on 7550, that hash, and I can actually make it even bigger, but you guys can see it. So you see that big hash of noise there. That's Digital Radio Mondiale, DRM. It's all India radio. They are on DRM on that frequency. Yeah, it's not Stanag. Yeah, let me check it out on... It's actually audible on... Man, I got a lot of noise today. But there's a weak signal from All India Radio 9445. It should technically be in English. Voice of Greece is really good, 9420. 9395 is WRMI. How does a pirate tell you that he's 80 years old? I don't know. Cool, Casper. We've got a channel. Oh, really, Page Master, to kind of lower the noise from the plastic covering. Yeah. Hey, Jeff Barrett. Hey, matey. Hey, matey. Oh, God. I didn't see the answer, but now I saw it. I was like, yeah, okay. Hey, matey. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yes, microwave is really fun, active niche for the hobby hams. Cool. VK2FBAJ, hey, nice to have you on board from Sydney, Australia. Yeah, long time. And he's purchased his first proper rig, a Yaesu FT991A. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Matt says, I've not yet explored microwave transmissions. I don't think you do a lot of traditional communications on those bands, but honestly, I'm not sure what hams do on those bands. I would be one of those that want to check that out, honestly. Go check out 6712. 6712. What's on 6712? Oh, look at that. There's something there. Wow, that is weird. It looks like some kind of voice. Wow, this is weird. It looks like some kind of voice inversion. 6712 is weird. Hey, John McClure, nice to have you on board. No problem, Rufus Newt. That's where I purchased it, and you should have it in a week. It actually came from Ontario, which is kind of weird. JR's Journey. Jill is like, when did I make that guy moderator? No problem, my friend. Wow, that is so weird on 6712. It really sounds like voice inversion. It sounds like some voice, but it's really, really kind of sounds like it's inverted. V3KRP, quite a few hams do microwave bands. Some are doing 122 gigahertz laser. Many Earth Moon. I've seen a lot of Earth Moon Earth stuff for the gigahertz bands. You operate Earth Moon Earth on 1296 megahertz. Wow. I'd like to try that and hear something one day. Billy Laptop. Nice to have you here. Bought my MLA30 from an eBay seller located in New Jersey and had it within a week. Over a month ago. So, David says, I have a satellite TV offset dish aimed at the QO100, which is like the MLA30, but at 10 gigahertz. Hey, Kimberly, K6YYL. Nice to have you here. Mr. Licky Train, nice to have you on board. Really nice. Nice to have all of you on board. It's really cool to see the same names and the people coming back. WF7I Homebrew, did you get help on that old radio's power cord? Actually, Fastload is going to check it and plug it back. Yesterday we were talking about it because he saw my my live show on Wednesday, and he said, "Oh, let me take a look at it. I'm going to plug it back." I said, "Okay, cool," because I really want to have it working again. Simoranman, nice to have you here, my friend. Just woke up after sleeping the day away. Did I miss anything? What dark beer is that? Looks delicious. Glad you're live today. Yeah, it's a beer called the Resolution. So it's a new case of beer that has a different mix of what I usually have. And I gotta say, I haven't had such a delicious beer in such a long time. Wow, this is great. But it's 10%, so, you don't abuse of it because you're going to be drunk real fast. Madame Ballet, 955 WRMI playing the International Radio Report team tune. Okay, so they're playing Kraftwerk music. Take care, F4IDL. Always nice to have you on board and see you soon. Wow. R. Walker, 6712 is U.S. Air Force HF Global Command System. Madridio DXer says, also on U20, sounds like laser beams. Yeah, it's weird, eh? It's very weird. But HF U.S. Air Force HF Global System is 6739. No? This is weird. Terry Cook says lots of emergency radio data network, broadband, South California, in other areas, 2.4, 3, and 5 gigahertz. Wow. Joey D sounds like a robot on 6712. It is very, very mysterious. When you listen to it properly, just listen to it a little bit, it sounds like some kind of voice. But it's either inverted or scrambled in some way. It's weird. Kish Escape, I heard a lot of maritime using Sailor 2000 scrambling on the HF bands. That's possible. R. Walker says there have been some very long emergency action messages in the last 30 minutes on 11175. Lol Bro says having fun tuning boat anchors, turning boat anchors into RF amps. Okay. Yeah, no, 6712 sounds really strange. Absolutely. Nothing in Denver on 6712 is very weird. And it's heard in Europe also. And look at that big wideband signal there on from 6870 to 6935. It is so weird. That thing, I've never heard something like that on shortwave. 6712 is very bizarre. Very bizarre. Pagemaster says, Earth, Moon, Earth is so fun to do. You can hear your voice being echoed back. Today's figures, nice to have you here. Pagemaster, U.S. Coast Guard, 6501, Iron Mike. Let's check it out, 6501. Yeah, pretty good too. Pretty good. Joe Samdanhuas, nice to have you on board. From Brazil. Chug the beer, yeah. You want me to be doing a 9-hour show? Yeah, it's possible, R. Walker, that there could be some stuff, but it's very weird. It's very weird as on 6712. David in Barcelona says, here in Spain there are some hams active on the gigahertz ranges. Mostly try to DX and to challenge themselves. Yeah, I would guess there's a challenge in there. And the equipment, I mean, are there commercial type equipment at that range of frequencies? Or it's mostly home-built equipment almost there? There's, I haven't seen a lot of 100 gigahertz or whatever, commercial stuff being sold. By the way, talking about this, you're just reminding me that, in English, Radio Exterior de España. Not super strong tonight compared to other nights, but Spain is there on 9690 in English, 9690. Matambale listing here shows 6712 HFDL Reykjavik, Iceland, USB, US Air Force, GHFS SAR. Wow. Okay. Well, there would be one explanation. It's heard in Europe on 6712, and it's heard here on the East Coast. This is so weird sounding. This is so weird. It's really creepy sounding. It's almost Halloween night type sounding of a station. It's really weird. So, that's very interesting. So it would be logical that they could be in Reykjavik, Iceland. Huh. Well, bro, I remember a very strange event once on 11 meters calling DX on 555, so 37555 probably. I could hear my own voice maybe 9 seconds later. I changed frequency a few times and it happened on many channels, lasted around 8 minutes. That's weird. There's so many weird things sometimes that you're just like, wow. Take care, Donald Hosmer. It was nice to have you on board. Trimbale says, boat anchors means old, large, heavy radios from the 40s and 50s. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. R. Walker says, even the HF bands are in Halloween mood. Pretty much, eh? John Smith, nice to have you on board from Nashville, WA7IIC. Mr. Lucky Train says, you bought two MLA30s. Do you use the two connected together? No, the other one is still in the box. I want to use it for de-expedition purposes and maybe testing it indoors also. Does using two together give a better, stronger signal than using just one? I don't know. Kevin Wood says not very wide on 6712. Yeah, it's a pretty narrow signal. The Expedition says 6712 sounds like aliens. Maybe aliens are using shortwave. Maybe aliens understood that shortwave is actually... Vince Perrault on 6710 is more noise, but you feel more voice. Mark H is 6712 USB. Well, you know what? It's so weird that it's... I don't know what it is exactly. It's just such a weird signal. Ever thought of putting a down converter on the SDR play box? Why would... Oh, what you mean to go higher than 2 gigahertz? Joe Somebody Newhouse says, weird things on shortwave. I like it. I like it also. Pagemaster has channel radio on 7335 in Spanish. Trimbali says 6030 data or something. 6030? 6030, I got nothing. If you're talking about 6830, just higher, that is, well, no, but 6030, I got nothing on 6030. There's some DRM stuff on the 49 meter band also. Arthur's Alley Crafter's Kitchen, check his channel. Is it a de-expedition if you're doing receive only? Absolutely. Why would it not be a de-expedition? Trustin, nice to have you here. Radio Romania 7330. Let's check it out. Do I hear it? Yep, it's there. 7310. This is to Western Europe. It's not very strong, but it's there. Propagation is not what it could be at this time. I can tell you that. Mr. Lucky Train says, my MLA30 had no directions for assembly and or mounting. Any tips or suggestions as to what mast should be made of? Thanks. Mr. Lucky Train, use something that is solid, but that is not made of metal. So you don't want to have a metal mast, because the metal mast will actually interfere with the properties of the antenna itself. I used a wooden broomstick. At the dollar store, they had wooden broomsticks, really long ones too. Like I think it was like 6 feet long. I purchased one for like $4, and I used that for the mast. So just a wooden broomstick. Anything that is not made of metal, that it's sturdy enough to withstand, think about the fact that your antenna is going to really have to withstand, strong winds sometimes. And so, and you don't need to put it really high. Even if it's just 6 or 8 or 10 feet off the ground, it's okay. It's going to work great anyways. It does, there is one thing about the loops. Even the W6LVP loop doesn't have that much instructions on how to set it up, honestly. So use a wooden broomstick or a PVC pipe. Just buy yourself a length of PVC pipe and set it up. Radioactive says, after recording 8992 for an hour, it seems that the US Air Force was conducting a net, very little traffic though. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's possible that Trimbali there could be noise also, but I know Radio Romania has some DRM on that range somewhere. Yeah, R. Walker. I was looking at. Let me just check the latest indices. We were at the K index was at 3 earlier. DX.QSL propagation. K index is still at 3 at 21 UT. So we're in unsettled conditions. Solar flux is higher though, 69. It was 65 earlier today. So we're kind of in a unsettled condition for the geomagnetic field. Miki Almich says here in central Alberta, K is 5. Magnetometers has been bouncing around for the last 24 hours just in time for CQ worldwide. Yeah. Keisha Escape. Yeah, PVC pipe. Pretty good for a mass, absolutely. PageMaster says he uses a PVC pipe for the mast for both MLA30 antennas and a 3 1/4 inch surgical tubing to protect the wire. Radioactive says, speaking of propagation, the geomagnetic field is still recovering from the geomagnetic storm. Matambali heard some ale sitting. Yeah, just above. I saw it appear on my on the waterfall also. Butterbean, nice to have you on board from East Georgia. Simoranman says PVC pipe really good for small loop antennas, but it's tough to go more than 6 foot. WF7I Ombrew, I got a I got a tetrahertz CW transmitter. No license required. It's my flashlight. Oh man. So here the K index, the general K index is at 3 right now. Trimbali is using SDR Kiwi, Connecticut, Massachusetts state border. Weekly picking up Russian 4996. Let's check it out. 4996. Am I hearing the time station from Russia? No hint of Russian time station. And let's try the buzzer. 4625. No sign of the buzzer. Usually when geomagnetic field starts to get a little unsettled, signals coming from like Russia or the Nordic countries are a little more difficult to receive. Matt says he's using an 8-foot length of PVC pipe reinforced with a dowel rod that fit in perfectly on his W6 LVP loop. When it moved, I cut it in half. When I moved, nice and sturdy, but a bit top heavy before I cut it. Trustin says, over the last month, radio reception has been terrible in my area. Starting to wonder if my new neighbors are running something that could be putting a lot of RF noise. Yeah, that is unfortunately the price we got to pay sometimes for a hobby, having some neighbors with, really noisy equipment. And, over time, the more we go, and the more we see that the noise level are slowly creeping up on us. When I moved here in 2000, it was not as noisy as it is now. Can tell you that. Guys, I'm just going to take a 2-minute break because I gotta go pee after my couple of beers. And before the beers, I actually had a tall glass of water, so I gotta go pee. But I will just say this before, and you guys can think about it for a few seconds. PayPal.me/shortwave. If you do like what I do, please consider a PayPal donation. You can also, if you're on PayPal, send it to the Yahoo email that I just posted. It's much appreciated. I told you that I'm paying a really expensive price for my internet. I bought this new microphone to be professional. I bought a new laptop this year because I had to for the live shows. Basically, I'm here, twice a week. I do these live shows, and you guys enjoy it, maybe a little something could be helpful if you can spare some change. And thanks for being great fans of my channel. You can also go to patreon.com/radio and computers and become a patron. I got 11 patrons that give me a little something every month. It really, really helps, and it helps buy new equipment like the microphone. This microphone comes from your donations, and some of the stuff that I purchase, the radios I buy to review, a little help does go a long way. If you guys like what I do, think about it. And now I will go and pee because I got to. I don't know if you guys are going to hear it, but we'll leave you with the U.S. Coast Guard weather as I go pee.
North 39.8 west. Saturday afternoon. A strong cold front stretches from 30 north, 93 west to 21 north, 94 west to 19.5 north, 96 west. Gale force winds west of the front will subside tonight. The front will then reach 30 north, 89 west to eastern Bay of Campeche Saturday morning, then begin to sail from the central Florida panhandle to eastern Bay of Campeche Sunday morning. Deep high pressure will move to the north central Gulf Coast Monday as the front dissipates across northeast portions. Gulf of Mexico. North of 26 north, west of 87 west. Tropical storm warning tonight. Tropical storm conditions expected. Southwest winds 25 to 35 knots. Seas 8 to 11 feet. Saturday. West winds 15 to 25 knots. Seas 7 to 10 feet. Saturday night. Northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 5 to 7 feet. Sunday. North winds 10 to 15 knots. Shifting to northeast in the afternoon. Seas 2 to
Oh, God. We are back.
Sunday night. East wind.
So, we are back. Yes, we are. And, of course, we talk about Shortwave and sipping on a really good beer that I'm still totally amazed of the taste. Nice to have everybody on board, of course, as usual. And we have Mr. Page Master that just got his first ever certificate. Oh, this is cool. Amateur radio special event honoring the life and accomplishment of Lester Dan W0CBL, author, adventurer, and creator of the master fiction plot formula. So, look at that. Our friend here sharing a little QSL certificate. Cool. This is cool. That's, so cool to have these certificates and all of these things happening. It's really so much fun, honestly. And really, really cool. Hey, I'm live apparently, according to my email. So, hey, you're watching the Shortwave Show. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I hope you're enjoying today's show. We talk about radio, shortwave radio, and radio of all sorts here on the channel. And it's a lot of fun. We've got a sustained audience. Even just a couple of minutes ago, we were at almost 150. I mean, this is kind of cool. We got a really nice little audience here. And we're having a lot of fun talking about radio, drinking beer, and just having fun. Vince Perrault, 6712 is aeronautical mobile, according to Spectrum and Locations Canada. Yeah, but sometimes there could be so many things in there. It's just crazy when you think about it. It is totally crazy what we can hear on shortwave. Trim Valley's got the buzzer on the Kiwi SDR, but barely see it on the waterfall graph. So, EA3 IEK says actually hams have already experimented with modulating light beams in AM or FM using LEDs. David, a friend of mine got the first prize in a science contest when he was in high school because of a little experiment that I actually made him do that I had seen before. So, it was using a flashlight and a solar cell with a radio or a device making sound and a amplifier, an audio amplifier. So basically, I had him hook up the audio of a radio to a flashlight in a way that even if you don't see it, when the audio would play, it made slight variations in the light bulb's light. And he would beam that flashlight on a solar cell that was plugged directly to a audio amplifier. And everybody was super amazed that in a light beam, he was actually sending out audio. And when I actually told him, because he didn't know what to do as a science project. And when I actually told him, I said, oh, you could do that. And he said, oh, sounds cool. And I helped him build it. But I never thought he would win first prize with that. But it was probably because it was so unique in an experiment compared to everybody else. It was simple, yet it was really effective and worked. And I told him just say, you can use light to transmit information. And it was really, really cool. I can tell you that. Keisha's bathroom break, everyone. Kevin Wood, noise on 4625 is S5, S6, nothing heard. Yeah, pretty high noise too here. Yeah, Li-Fi, light, internet via light. There's a lot of talk about that. Basically, Gilles is broke. Oh, man. Well, I'm not rich. Let's put it in another sense. I'm not broke, but I'm not rich. Pirate on 6900. 6900. Check it out. Yep. You know what's sad? There is a pirate. I hear the pirate on 6900. But he's smack in the middle of that noise thing. If that noise wasn't there, we would hear it because I hear it through the noise. But there is definitely a pirate on 6900. Upper sideband. And remember, guys, that the coming week is going to be the Pirate Week. Listen every day. Remember also that this weekend is the CQ Worldwide SSB contest. The ham band is going to be full of signals from stations of different countries, islands, and de-expeditions that you never hear usually. And there's going to be a lot of activity. It starts actually in an hour and a half from now, a little more. 0 UT and goes up to Sunday at 23:59 UT. I love that contest. It's a great occasion to listen to ham signals from everywhere. Also, Sunday, we are going to be on the B19 schedule season. Schedule season. So that means that starting Sunday, if your favorite station isn't on the air, it's not because it's gone. It might have switched its frequency for the winter schedules. And so you might be a little lost for a couple of weeks. You know, that there's always that transition period where you kind of try to find the frequencies of the stations you want to listen to. So 2 things happening this weekend. Kevin Wood says loud carrier on 3875. Really? Let's check it out here. Do I hear something on 3875? 3875. Oh, it's an AM guy. It's one of those AMers. There's another one on 3885 also. These are the guys that like to use AM mode on 80 meters. Really some AMers in there. Kish Escape. Hey, you said 2 minutes. I wasn't done. Use the bathroom. Yeah, 3905 is Europe. Trim Valley's got CHU overload on 3330. R. Walker got the Pyro on 6900 out here in the West Coast too. Okay, interesting. Randy in Riverside, California. Nice to have you here. Matambale says 6501 U.S. Coast Guard NMN station in Virginia. Very good. Cool. Trimbale says flashlight and solar panel. You mean a fiber optic audio on the back of TVs and PCs? Yeah, pretty much. But I was surprised that he won first prize. He actually won a PC. Back then he won a, I think it was a 386 PC on DOS. Oh, really strong. The other one's stronger here on 3875.
It's a big thing to live up to. That's the thing. So many people
think
that thing sounded so great, and I'm afraid if I plug it
some really
it's not going to be the same.
Some really strong AMer on 3875. Casper Peterson, 6900 a week on U20 radio. Where is it from, I wonder? Wow, really powerful. Pirate, 6900 S9 in, says Jerry. Wow. S5, Casper Peterson. S4 to S5 on 6900 Kish Escape. Wow. So, Lol Bros in the UK. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Bobby Burgess in Louisiana. Kish Escape in South Nevada. Matambale, same hump of noise here, centered around 6890, like 40 kilohertz wide. Yeah, it's very, very wide. René Charbonnier says, here in the Netherlands, very good reception of the buzzer on UBV 76 on 4625. You lucky, Keisha Escape, because I have that noise, and it's really, really loud. Some kind of radar, or I don't know what. Little Bro says, we don't have good hams in the UK. They all like police informers. Oh, God. Trimbale says, ham on the radio? You mean Flying Pigs? Yeah. It's a Pink Floyd album. pigs in it. You got a problem with bacon? Oh, man. Matt says Parrot sounds best around 6900.5 USB. It's not 100% on point either. Keisha's speaking of PC on DOS, you ever going to do more old computer museum videos? Yeah, I know a lot of people have been asking me that. Maybe I should go back. A lot of people are like, maybe I should do it differently though. When I did it back then, I was like talking about some of the old games and stuff. But I do have old computers and all stuff, and with the Atari flashback, maybe it'd be cool to do some old computer museum videos again and reviews of these things. What else do we have? I'm just going to do a little something, guys. 2 seconds. I want to just close the door because there's some noise. So, Pirate on 6900. And what else do we have? David says, now that I think about it, the best thing about the visible light spectrum is that no allocations have been defined on it yet. So no license is required to transmit there. Haha. Matam Bali says, a cover of Bad Moon Rising. Could not tell what it was until hitting that frequency. Casper Peterson, do some videos on the Atari. Yeah, I need to. V3KRP says Radio Havana Cuba 15370. Let's check it out. Got nothing here. I really got nothing much here. I heard it earlier today, though. I really heard it earlier today. Some music on WRMI 93.95. And on 7780 also. René Charbonnier, where can I find the frequency for the different HARP stations? HARP is... So there's only one station, actually. HARP is in Alaska. So what's happening with HARP? We don't know what's going to be happening with HARP because the guy that was in charge of doing the experiments, Chris Fallon, is now gone from that experiment, and so we don't really know what's going to happen with HARP. It's presently it's silent. You're not hearing anything from HARP right now. So it's HARP is now in the possession of the University of Alaska, and it will we don't know what's going to happen. Let's hope that they keep it up because it's kind of a weird and mysterious thing. It's sad because there was so many things that were so cool about HARP with all the experiments they did, and that experiment also that was done not long ago. Will there be more HARP transmissions? Right now we don't know, but right now it's off. Right now, it's not working. It's interesting because in one of the groups this week, I saw somebody say, oh, well, that HARP station is messing up with all the... Yeah, HARP isn't on right now. So it can't be messing up with anything. It just isn't on. Okay? So, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be back in operations and everything. But it's one of those things that it's kind of mysterious and cool at the same time. Yeah, they're kind of radio receivers, but they are using a property of light that's very, very unique. Light is very, very unique because it's a electromagnetic wave. At the same time, it is a particle. So our eyes are receiving the photons, which are the particle side of light. Kind of weird when you think about it. Keisha Escape, yeah, 15 megahertz, not really as strong for me this month as usual. In the afternoons, 19 meters has been quite surprising. So now I'm going to have my Blonde de Chambly, the blonde from Chambly. So this is it's 5% beer. So we're passing on from, I had a 9%, which was a fin du monde, a 10%, which was really amazing, the resolution. But now we're down to a 5% because we don't want to get, drunk. Let's just say it like that. And this one has a nice blonde color to it. Let me just take a few seconds because it's like really a little too much foam on the top. Oh, it smells like skunk. It actually smells from here. It really smells like skunk. What is this there? Page Master says, I wonder if I can reach my goal of 250 QSL cards before the year is up. Thus for 76. So, okay, you got 2 months. You got 2 months to do it, man. So you're going to have to ramp it up if you want to have all of these QSLs. That's for sure. Bobby Burgess, hearing the Pirate on 6900.7 with USB. Tristan, very strong signal on 9950 kilohertz. Buzzers sound very strange. Maybe it's some kind of local interference you've got. 9950. I got nothing on 9950. But I got a really strong signal from WRMI 9955 in Spanish. 9955 is pretty strong tonight. Vince Perro says, I just find it's more clear on 6710. And I hear Radio Cuba and 7:30 a.m. Montreal. Really? Okay, what else do we have? Hey there, Nigel P. Lawrence, nice to have you here. What if this engine ATS 803A? For £20 on eBay UK, it's a good buy. It's really a good one. The ATS 803A, which I believe is the same as the Radio Shack DX 440, is one of the good radios. So for £20, get it. I would jump on it immediately for sure. So G0MEJ. Simoranman says 6900.7. Upper sideman showing voice here in Pennsylvania. Escape. People go on about HARP messing up their brainwaves. Yeah. The weather. What I liked about Chris Fallon when he was talking about the HARP experiments is he was always happy to kind of use those posts that he would see and joke about it. I remember one post one time, there was some bad weather on the East Coast, and I remember one post saying, yeah, you're right. Because of HARP, you guys are having bad weather on the East Coast. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was just so funny. It was just so funny. What else do we have? Radioactive. Speaking of HARP, wouldn't it be nice if a ham group operated the array as a D expedition? Absolutely. You know what? I thought of that also in the past. That would be nice. That HARP could be used for, ham radio D expeditions and stuff. I think that would be really, really cool. I keep kicking the camera all the time. I kick the camera all the time. I'm kicking the camera. I gotta stop moving. No more. I'm not moving anymore. Let me just go back to 6900. So you guys say it's 0.7. Oh, now it's good because the huge wideband signal is gone. Yeah. Coming in quite good now. Quite good now. Any info about what station that is? Let's go to HF Underground. HFunderground.com is the place to go when you want to know more about pirates. 6900.7. Still an idea. No identification yet. So, yep. They had a Halloween movie team, so it might be one of those Halloween pirates that's doing something tonight. But no identification yet. And, wow, it's been on for a while. Because the first post is at 2200 UTC. So, it's been on for a while. It's really been on for a while. We'll leave it at a low level. Sean Frizzle, nice to have you here. What's your opinion of the new Elec NESDR Mini 2 Plus SDR stick? I've heard a lot of good things of the new Elec stuff. So I can't say for myself because I don't own one. But I've read some good stuff, some good reviews of the new Elec stuff. But I can't really say, honestly. Anybody has one or can comment on that? No problem, René Charbonnier. It's we're here for that. Simoran, man, are you supposed to be mixing beers? Yeah, well, not necessarily, but I like different tastes and different beers. The case that I have here has 8 different types of beers, and it's very interesting, honestly. Vince Perrault is having the same beer. So alors, Vince, santé à toi. Toujours un plaisir de t'avoir parmi nous. I can tell you, it doesn't taste much compared to what I just tasted before. In the La Résolution. By the way, Vince, La Résolution, c'est aussi un produit Unibrew. Ça fait partie de Unibrew. J'ai une caisse de 12 Unibrew mixed ici. And I'm sorry, guys, that you didn't understand that part of the conversation. Mr. Lucky Train says, would stretching / pulling the loop of an MLA-30 from its normal circular shape to make it oval or ellipse shape affect its performance, making it better, worse, or have no effect? It would probably change its properties. It's circular for some reason, and it would probably change its properties. One of the things I want to test here is to see if making a bigger loop, smaller loop, or whatever with it would also improve, or because it's going to change its properties, that's for sure. The shape of the antenna does have a specific property, that's for sure. The Yadboy 400 Trimbali, Mr. Bell, is pretty good, absolutely. Lee Burkett, it's a great show, and thanks very much for your advice on internet. Very helpful. No problem, my friend Lee Burkett. It's always cool. Yeah, the Radio Shack version is the DX440. Jeff Barrett, 6900, blasting in Cincinnati on his MLA30. Unfortunately, rap music, but with a little C in it. Crap. I'm not a big fan of rap also. Joe, somebody on US, is any ISS-AM radio activity for this weekend? No, but I know that there are some schools in different areas of the world that have contacts that I've seen somewhere on a post. But nothing special happening with the International Space Station right now. Pagemaster still looking for a Grundig Cosmopolitan radio. Had one when he was in the Navy. Wow. Simoran Man, I wonder if the makers of the MLA sell the amplifiers separately. Yeah, we have, we don't even know who makes that. We have no idea who makes that. Matambale says, did we all remember to hit the thumbs up? Oh, man. Miki Dalmich says, I have QSLs from when ham radio operators use HCJB PFO and SBC Sutton's Switzerland site before they were dismantled. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that they actually did that. Oh, man. Memories of a once past shortwave time. Samoran Man still monitoring rap coming in on 6900.7. Oh no, it's definitely not FCC regulated, I can tell you that. Vince says 6900 sounds more like a angry preacher. Chimbale, Mr. Bell's got 8891. Might have to sit on frequency for a bit, USB, which is aeronautical frequency. Matt says getting it out west this early is a sign that they're using some decent power. Yeah, probably. Sean Fizzle, nice to have you on board. Yes, no problem, G7PUW. Jeff Barrett, are you an IPA guy? Me, not so much. No, not at all. I hate IPAs. They are so hoppy, and I don't like them. I have a hard time with an IPA. Yep, 6900.7, still good here. Chuck CP Davis, nice to have you here. You should try Ham's beer. Get it? Haha. Well, there's a shortwave beer that I got in the bag here. What noise should I escape? I missed something. Circuitous Vibes. Nice to have you on board from beautiful Sonoran Desert. I love the French-Canadian accent because it's easier to understand than French from France. Really? I always hit the microphone. I'm gonna have to get used to this. There's a bit of a rant a little bit sometimes because French from Quebec, when they go to France, they have the impression that the French from France sometimes kind of laugh a little bit at their accent or the way that they speak French. And one of the things that I remember frustrated, there was a French couple that would go to the karaoke bar that I go to. They stayed here for a year. And one day we were talking about the French language, and they were saying that we spoke bad French. And I said, well, two things. The French from France use way too much English words in their French. And here we actually use more of a French language. So an example is, if you go to France and search for a parking spot, if you say parking, they know what it is. It's part of their language. Here, they will know what it is. But here, we often say stationnement, which is the French word for parking. And I remember telling them, and they couldn't believe me. I said, you know what? Quebec actually made French its official language before France ever did it. And he said, that's impossible, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. Search it. You will see that we actually made French our official language before France. So, but when you tell them that, it's like they're frustrated suddenly. And, it's there's nothing to be frustrated. It's just that's how it happened. I don't know why it happened like that, but in Europe, what's probably the reason why is that in Europe, you guys have so many languages in there. I mean, there's a mishmash of languages all across Europe. Languages, dialects, and all of that. While here, it was pretty much uniform. It was either French or English for the most part. So, it wasn't as difficult to try to get some kind of language identity because there weren't a lot of languages. It was French or English. But in Europe, it's like, man, there's as many languages as there are European countries, which is very different, Yeah, absolutely, Jeff Barrett. Actually, the history of beer, anybody that's interested a little bit, it's amazing to learn about beer in itself. One thing that I would like to do, and never did, would be to kind of brew my own beer at home. It's something I'd probably like as a hobby. Brewing your own beer and listening to Shortwave. I don't know. Sounds cool. David says, actually, loops can be made into square, and performance doesn't change that much, as far as I know. Yeah, I know there are some square loops. That's true. Maybe it's just the size of the whatever shape you make. Trimbale 7900 USB non-English voice. Let's check it out here. 7900. I got a buzzing. I don't seem to be getting anything else than a buzzing. Sean Frizzle says October 2019 events, October 29th, 9:35, 9:55 a.m. Central, Eastern, Aroostook Regional School Unit 39. Huh. David Knowles, nice to have you here. I wonder what would happen if the MLA would be used as a pickup loop for a larger tune loop. That's interesting. Lots of experiments to be done. There, Nigel. Here got Canadian amateur radio license. I don't have my ham license yet. I need to take the time. We need to take the time. Frenchmen and mics don't mix. Good night, René Charbonnier. Bonsoir. See you soon. Yeah, South Park episode about French Canada. It's like the Simpsons when Lisa wants to be Canadian. Apparently, it frustrated a lot of Canadians. And I don't know why. I just found it funny. I think people are taking things too seriously today. You know, you can't have anything. You can't talk about anything today without frustrating somebody. Just crazy. Just crazy. Take care, VE3KRP. Nice to have you on board. Ah, man. David Knowles. Spaniards say the same thing about Spanish speakers in Southwest U.S. Bonne nuit, little bro. Oh, really? Jeff Barrett says Pacific Gas and Electric just announced that they may cut the power to 850,000 more people because of wildfires. Yeah, I'm sure it's the same thing between the, the French from Quebec and the French from France. I'm sure there's the same thing with the Spanish from Spain and the Spanish from Mexico, and even in the South America, there probably are different, 1,000 different ways of just speaking Spanish. Same thing. Stick with this vibes. Très intéressant. I love French in Quebec because it is choppy and clear distinction between words and syllables. It's just funny. Lang Focus Channel has good presentation about Français versus Québécois. Yeah. Oh man, it's just crazy. R. Walker, Portuguese say the same thing about Brazilians. Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure it's always the same thing. I'm sure it's every language has that for sure. Is the IC 8500 a good for all band listening? It's an amazing radio, honestly. Lolbro says Parisians speak the worst French. It's just funny. Charity X, it's because the Quebecer French are better. Yes, we are. Oh, I'm not going to say that live. I'm going to get bashed and have some bad comments on my channel because of it. Oh, man. Yeah, Montreal Expos. I loved Montreal Expos. Vince Perrault, French and Quebec use a lot of English words too, but we pronounce it in English, not French. Yeah, but if you listen to a French conversation in France, you will see that they use a lot more English words in their language than we actually do here in Quebec. Because we do use English words sometimes, I mean, we are in the middle of a English language ocean in North America. But it's not as bad as the French. A lot more English words gets into a French language in France than we do here, which is kind of funny. Jeff Barrett, imagine that there is a little performance margin in the MLA 30. The loop is so flimsy to begin with. The loop is just a piece of, metal. Honestly, there's a positive side, Jeff, to that. When I go outside and look from the street to my antennas, one of the things I've never really enjoyed is the fact that antennas are too visible. So, I've always put up wire antennas that was the smallest wire possible and the color of the wire used and everything to make sure that it was almost invisible. Because, you guys know, if you put up an antenna, you will always have a neighbor that's going to you put up an antenna. Or sometimes, if one of your neighbors is like a jerk, he's gonna complain that he got an antenna and stuff. So I always wanted to have the least visible antennas in my hobby so that nobody complains and nobody talks about it. And I always kind of wanted to be low profile. As a radio listener, I don't want the neighbors to know I'm doing this. I want to be the low profile type. So the W6LVP loop is, a big chunky loop. And it's really super visible. But if I didn't have that, what I like, it looks flimsy, but it does the job. It still does the job. I did help the loop a little bit. My MLA30, I have tie wrapped the upside of the loop to the mast to make sure that that kind of flimsy thing doesn't, lose its shape with wind or whatever. But at least, if I didn't have the W6 LVP loop, which is the one that is super visible from the sidewalk, it's not that easy to notice the MLA30. And I kind of like that because we don't want to attract too much attention to our antennas, honestly. Communications on 6900 lower sideband. Yeah, a lot of fishermen are around that range. So upper. Not hearing anything right now. Not hearing anything. So, lol, bro, it's not worth it. You're a nice guy. Being a ham will just make you bitter and cynical. No, it will not. Not in my case. Play 3330 when top of the hour happens. Trimbali. Joe, somebody on your house. Depend on the amount beer consumed. Maybe you could end up listening shortwave signals with the radio turned off. Yeah. I'll be listening to HCJB after like 10 beers of 10%. David says there are more languages. Whoops. Let me just go back down. David says there are more languages than countries here in Europe. Yeah, I don't know. I know. Without going further. I know. It's just crazy. Little bro says the amount of hams in the UK that never use the bands and only use 11 meters now is staggering. Keisha Escape. In Japan, I used to listen to Indonesian free bands all over 68, 6900. The ICOM SCR 8500 is a great radio, but don't pay too much for it. Kevin Wood, Maple Leaf Radio. Keisha Escape. Speaking French. Simoronman 6900 Spanish Losan. Yeah, probably some of those pescadores. Absolutely. David, Joe, you saying everyone is frustrated these days? That actually frustrates me. They are. Everybody frustrates for like no reason. Is this crazy? Simoranman speaks Morse code. Are you French or English? I am. My first language is French. I started speaking English. I was about 6 years old because I was playing with my neighbors that were Italian, and they only spoke English. So that's where I learned my English, in the streets, playing with my friends. And it's funny because that neighbor, his mom would go out and look at me and say, "Hey, Gilles, parle français avec Johnny. Speak French with Johnny, Because she wanted her son to learn French. But I was so happy to just speak English. I never really bothered. Actually, if I would have continued, because I was about 11 years old when they moved. They moved to Calgary. I was about 11. And I remember it affected me because Johnny was one of my good friends. And when they moved, I kind of lost my friend, you know. But it's funny because if they would have continued, I think I would have also be speaking Italian, because I had started kind of understanding and was almost there speaking Italian, honestly. So if it would have stayed, probably I would be speaking French, English, and Italian today. Tristan says, talking about the Montreal Expos, I really miss the Quebec Nordiques. Man, I'd love to see them come back. Oh man, I can tell you, the Quebec Nordic is my dad comes from the Saguenay region of Quebec, and the family kind of moved across Quebec or different places. So kind of half of my family was from Quebec City, and I was, of course, we were living here in Montreal. So you can imagine these the nights when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, and we would go to my uncle's in Quebec City and stay there for a weekend, and they would watch the game. And if that game happened to be Montreal Canadiens versus Quebec Nordiques, you can imagine that was a spectacle. That was something to see. It was incredible. And I'm not a big fan of hockey, but there was something there that was kind of fun. It's like, wow. Jerry K, nice to have you on board from North Carolina. What am I drinking tonight? He just finished a pumpkin ale. Oh, that sounds interesting. You know what? That pumpkin ale makes me remember or feel like this was kind of spicy a little bit. The resolution. And it kind of makes me think of pumpkin spice type stuff. So right now I'm on a blonde of Chambly, and I had my usual end of the world, fin du monde, just to start. So this is beer number 3 I am right now. I'm a little tipsy, actually. Not drunk, just tipsy. Kish Escape. Hey, we hit 3 hours of live stream now. Pretty cool. Yeah, 6900 is gone. Oh, man. Best Belgian inventions, bun frites and chocolate. Oh, man. And welcome back, my friend Keegan. Jeff Barrett, aren't French, Spanish, Portuguese, Romance languages derivatives of Latin? Yes, absolutely. Actually, I was trying to learn Spanish, and one of the things that makes Spanish a little easier on people that speak French is because there's a lot of similarities, including the fact that there are some genders on words. So some words are masculine and some words are feminine. It's something very unique that you don't have in the English language. So it's kind of makes it easier to understand. Kisha Escape. I saw someone make a cross out of PVC to hold the sides of the MLA30 loop too, so it doesn't bend on the sides. Yeah, because it is a little flimsy. That's true. So, in my case, what I did is I had the loop is on the. So I have 2 sticks. I have a wooden broomstick and I've got a plastic one. And on the top, it has a hole. So what I did is I passed the loop in the hole and I put a plastic tie wrap to hold it there to make sure that it keeps the shape. I don't know. I'm not sure if it really needs it. But I was thinking, with the winter storms, the high storms, and the high winds we get sometimes, maybe just to be safe, honestly. David says South American Spanish actually has many words that. And I lost it. Okay. That are direct English imports. Example, they say computadora, or for computer. So when we here in Spain refer to that as ordenator. Well, that's interesting because ordinateur sounds so much more like ordinateur in French. On appelle ça un ordinateur. So it sounds much more French, actually. But computadora does sound more English, for sure. Oh, absolutely, radioactive. Actually, you could, the loop can be easily modified by the way that it's done. So you could use heavier gauge wire. Absolutely. $68.60 lower sideband. 68.60 lower sideband. Not sure if I hear anything. Wow, there's this really powerful ham here. $71.61 lower sideband. He's really powerful. Imagine, guys, in exactly 49 minutes from now, we will have the start of the CQ Worldwide SSB contest. And it's going to go through the weekend, 23:59 UT on Sunday. Take the time to listen. There's a lot of interesting stations in there. I really, really like it. Check my email. I got to check my email. Mickey Delmage. Check my email. Ham QSL. Oh, look at that. That is nice. So here's the QSL from, they're talking about Hamfest and stuff. Here's the QSL card. HC60JB, or see, here it is. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's one of those QSLs. This is cool. And this is nice stuff. Honestly, when you look at that, it's just so cool. So cool. So,
Kilo Tango with company, calling CQDX and standing by.
CQDX and standing by. You could, yeah, there is that sentiment or that way of thinking sometimes that hams. I think, we probably all had one or a couple of experiences with ham radio operators that were idiots and that made it sound like they're a little, snobby, I would say. I think we all had that, but, let's not generalize. I think the majority of hams are probably great guys that are there just to help out. But yeah, there are some snobs. I mean, there are some of them that think they know everything, and if you're not a ham radio operator and you just listen in, you're like inferior for some reason. There definitely are some of those. It's just sad. R. Walker might buy a second MLA30 to experiment with different loop sizes and wire. Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I got the second one. Plus, it's great because it's easy to bring on to the expeditions, and I plan to use that. David Knoll says, I miss the Nordics as well. Never saw them, but I went up to Montreal and watched Pedro Martinez get shelled by the Expos 11-2. Oh, man. I miss Expos because I don't know how many times I went to see some baseball games. Keisha Escape would like to have 100 MLA30 loops in a big, cheap Chinese phased array. That would sound like a harp of Chinese MLA30 loops. Oh, man. Radioactive. The bigger the antenna, the better. I can have that thing too, for sure. Oh, man. Jeff Barrett. Cincinnati would love to have a couple of professional teams. Oh, man. Radioactive. Imagine using the low noise amplifier with 160 meter loop. Yep. Oh, man. What else do we have? Vince Perrault. I learned English in Toe Mountain Boy Scout from 6 years old to 14. Happy about it. Still have a lot of friends don't speak English and they regret it. You know, Vince, when I was in high school, all of my best friends didn't speak English at all. And I always was happy to have learned English. And there's something about speaking English in Canada, and especially in Quebec, changes somewhat part of the way you think about all of it. Because, any Canadian will tell you that Quebec and Canada, there's some tensions in there. And I always thought that any Quebecois that speaks only French had a kind of a different way of thinking very often about Canada than a Quebecois guy that does speak English. And in high school, I was proud to speak English. It was one of my things that was like, I speak English, man. When we got into the job market, so I went to college, something called Cégep here in Quebec. When we had our first jobs, well, my best friends had a hard time getting jobs because they were in areas of work where, look, the big companies, their customers were, from the U.S. or from Western Canada, which means you better speak English, man, because if you don't, you're not there. And they had a hard time when I didn't because I spoke English. It was already easier for me. And one of my friends actually took a crash course to learn English because he understood that, you know what? You gotta. If you want to have a big job, a big pay, it's a minimum. You got to do it today. It's really, really important to do it. Shirley Sykes, I had to go and just tuned in, so I missed a lot, but I did hear about your pumpkin ale. Well, it wasn't pumpkin, but it actually had like pumpkin spice type ale. It really reminded me of that. I can tell you that. Pumpkin Spice Radio. That would be the name of a nice pirate for Halloween. Pumpkin Spice Radio. Hey, Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you here from South Carolina. Yingli CA1, is your long wave antenna parallel to north-south or east-west? Well, I have two antennas that are capable of long wave. My sloper. Sloper is an 80 feet piece of wire that's in my backyard. It is roughly east-west orientation. For the rest, the loop antennas that I have are both the W6LVP and the MLA30 are both oriented southwest to northeast. Russ Inks, nice to have you on board from Dundee, Illinois. Pretty cool. William Conlon, I already answered. Yes, the ICOM SCRD 500 is pretty good. Bruce B. You know what? We are in a deep solar minimum right now. And actually what's happening is that we are this year in the deepest solar minimum in more than 100 years. We thought we had seen the deepest of the deepest in 2008 when we had that solar minimum. Well, you know what? This one here is actually beating the deep minimum of 2008, which is kind of interesting because it's really the deepest solar minimum we've ever seen. So technically in the next year and a half, we should start slowly seeing an uptick. But we are in uncharted territory. We're in that area where we don't really know exactly. The sun, we don't know a lot about the sun, honestly. And let's cross our fingers that it does. But right now, we are in a deep minimum. It's really crazy. Really crazy. Okay. Take care, Joe Summerton, US. It was nice to have you on board. VE3TYA, nice to have you on board. PA1WX from the Netherlands, nice to have you here. Keegan says, I learned some French language words from this show. CHU Canada and French language FM stations from Canada via eSkip. Paul White. So why are French, Spanish, Italian, etc. so different from Latin? Different earlier languages of the conquered people forced to learn the new dominant speech. With time things kind of change and do modify. It's everything's modified over time. Bro Weaver, nice to have you here. You doing to try WBCQ tonight? Yeah, I will try to listen to Alan Wiener at 0UT. Yes, it's been a while, P1WX. Nice to have you here. Oh, no, that's for sure. English, every language. It evolves over time. It doesn't sound the same, 100, 200, 300 years. It's a huge amount of time where everything just changes. Keisha Escape, how long is the show continuing? You got to prepare for the contesting at 0UT. The show just, it ends at some point when I get a little tired and feel that, Jeff Barrett says there's an English to Shakespeare converter on the internet. You type in what you want to say, and it converts it. It's It's a hoot for emails. You know, it's interesting because when you are bilingual, at least bilingual, and you use Google Translate and you start looking at what it translates, and you're like, wow, okay, that's bad. Bro Weaver just scans for contest cheaters. That exists? Oh man. Kimberly, I really hope you get your ham license. Your sister's bunny is leaning over and telling you to take the time. Yes, I know. I know. She was Victor Echo 2, Delta Papa Oscar at the time. That's in the 80s. I don't know who has that call today, but that was her call in the 80s. Victor Echo 2, Delta Papa Oscar. The first ham in the family, I believe. I need to be the second one. Maybe you should be looking from above and saying, yep, now's the time to do it. Oh, man. There, Nigel P. Lawrence, HCJB have amateur broadcast shows, DX programs. Yep. There was ham radio today. There was the DX party line. Oh, man. These were good times. Casper the Friendly Ghost is talking upside down. Are you from the other side? Oh, man. Oh, absolutely. Some CBers will snob ham radio operators. I think it's the same. You know, in every type of hobby, when there's different types of people that doing the hobby, there's always that, you know. It's always that. Ever hear the late W2VJZ? That call rings a bell. Today we are all, you know, the difference today is that you are, today what's different is that we have all the young guys, you know, all the kids out there saying, what the hell, that's a whole hobby. What is radio, amateur radio stuff? You know, I was telling a friend that was talking about how, you know, the misunderstanding and the misconceptions of what amateur radio is and all of that. And I was saying, you know, amateur radio is still, because we still don't understand everything about radio waves. And amateur radio is still there to experiment upon radio waves. And one of the things I was telling that person is, you know, your cell phone is a transceiver. It receives and sends out radio signals to do what it does. Your router, that's why you got Wi-Fi. And I was saying, you know, a big role of amateur radio in there is to, and was to, help out in the development of radio in every aspect. Amateur radio is still today at the forefront of the radio research of why and how we do things. And people just look at that and say, yeah, right, really? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A lot of what we learned to do this stuff comes from amateur radio operators, amateur radio experimenting, and just, you know, plain radio waves that we use every day. R. Walker's picking up Sound of Hope Mandarin 11170. Really? Maybe you're receiving the, I don't want to say that you're not receiving it, but you might be receiving the Chinese jammer that is over it. Take care, John McClure. Lil Bro says, what I want to know is what happened to all the Western propaganda shortwave stations pumping out BS to the rest of the world. Well, it still exists. I mean, I think all broadcasters have some sort of propaganda to say. I mean, every country wants to kind of show its light. Let's call it like that, you know? But, you know, as times change. There's different ways of sending out your propaganda today, honestly. So that's what's happening. Kimberly says, we are trying to get more into ham radio. A 9-year-old female got her extra class. It's not easy. I am studying for my extra, and it's not a giveaway license for sure. There was a article that I was reading about hams in the UK that are trying to find a way to get the young generation into the hobby. Piper McCoy. Well, you know, I mean, not everybody does need to learn English in Quebec. Some people in their jobs and the way they do things will never need it. But I think it's, I don't know, it's something cool to know more than one language, honestly. You know, one of the things that let's put it on the other side. I don't know how many times I was so happy to speak French when listening to Shortwave, especially to those, African stations only speaking French and doing my reception reports and being able to understand what they were saying and listen to that. Speaking two languages also was kind of cool because you kind of understand, the more languages I understand, the more stations I can listen to on Shortwave. Because not every station would broadcast in English or French or, So I remember thinking, wow, if I learned Spanish, I would have an whole new world of shortwave listening to my experience. So, Lair Nigel P. Lawrence, DX Party 9 HCJB does still broadcast? No. HCJB, only frequency left of HCJB is 6050. And it's on right now. It's very weak tonight, but 6050 is the only shortwave frequency of direct from Ecuador. There are some relays from Europe that do have HCJB broadcasts, but the only frequency left from Ecuador, 6050. And the X Party Line show stopped many years ago. Timbali says 80 meters getting busy. Sure, DX, how about pumpkin spice radio with splash of nutmeg? Jeff Barrett, I love how English is spoken in the UK. I'm sure a lot of that comes from my fascination with the BBC in my teens. Yeah. That difference is like Quebec French and France French. That same pronunciation. I actually pronounce your screen name Yingli correctly. Dave O'Toole, nice to have you here. Love the show. What is your opinion about the Sony ICF Shortwave 100? As I have just got one back to working. I know that it was one of those interesting radios. And, I don't think I've ever heard any Sony shortwave receiver or any Sony radio being bad at doing what it had to do. They usually had really good radios. Could pollution be causing solar minimums? I don't think so. I think it's just that we don't understand what. I read an article that actually explained it really well. When they were talking about solar activity, they were saying, we have been watching the sun for only 400 years or so. The sun has been there for 4.5 billion years. So, what is an actual normal solar cycle? We don't really know. We haven't been watching the sun enough. So, what is normal? We don't really know. And the sun has all these cycles. There's an 11-year cycle, a 22-year cycle. There's another one that's like really, really long. I don't remember how many years. We are just learning from our own sun, our own star. Oh yeah, it is. It is different, Piper McCoy. That absolutely. Alan Wiener the Wiener. Oh God. Oh man, Paul Weinstein. Oh God. Our Walker says, but there was a really deep solar minimum in the 1700s called the Mountain Minimum, which they think was responsible for Little Ice Age. Okay, let's just say that we are living in the deepest solar minimum. Well, they're calling it of the space age. Okay, so in the last 100 years, the Mountain Minimum of 1700s, which is an extended period of very low solar activity. Contrary to what a lot of people think, there were some sunspots in that period. It's just that the cycles were extremely small. I did see a interesting documentary about the Little Ice Age and the Mountain Minimum, and it's interesting because the more they see the details of what happened back then, the more they kind of understand that there was not really a relation with the Little Ice Age. Because yes, that period was extremely cold. Even some places where rivers don't usually freeze in the winter actually had freezing. There was even a report, I remember seeing one of the things saying that in North America in the 1700s, while the Little Ice Age was happening, the crops weren't really there because the summers were too cold in that period of time. But the more we look at it, the more we see that there's no real relation. So in an uptick and a downtick of a solar cycle, okay, we're a minimum right now, and take one of the big solar cycle maximum we had. There is a difference in output of energy from the sun. So in a solar minimum, the sun has slightly less energy being sent out. It's just barely a little less bright. So you might think, well, it has an effect on the weather. But over watching cycles after cycles after cycles and comparing it with weather, they say that the difference is too small to actually create a difference in our weather patterns, colder or warmer. And that also lets them think that Little Ice Age is kind of a coincidence that is not necessarily caused by the Mountain Minimum. So, I don't know, that's things I read, but it's very, very interesting. A lot of people are saying, hey, we're going on another Mountain Minimum. No, we're not. We're not right now. We're not really there. I mean, the cycles we're having now are small, but they are much bigger than the ones on the Mountain Minimum. Who knows? Who knows? Casper Peterson, Alan Wiener is at 0 UT, so in 20 minutes from now. on WBCQ. So 3265, 5130, 7490 kilohertz is usually the three frequencies he's on at the same time. Hey, Keisha Escape, take care. Kimberly says VE2 Delta Papa Oscar. Denis Pouliot from Fossambeau-sur-le-Lac. That was my sister. That was my sister in the 80s. Back then, she used to live in Belleuil, Quebec. Pretty crazy. Yingli says, I was an amateur radio operator that came up with a cell idea. Absolutely. Yeah, Fire Drake. David says, hearing a booming signal from K3LR on 713311 calling CQDX before the contest starts. So they're preparing. He's warming up for the contest. Hey, Free Saxon, nice to have you here. Ron Ernie, how do you like that Grundig S450 DLX? It's nice, I like it. But, it definitely had, unfortunately, with all the reports that I've seen over time, it definitely had some quality control problems. Drinking an ice cap. Edvaldo Lemes, nice to have you here. PY4001 SWL from Brazil. Do you think about making a podcast? It would be nice to listen to it on the road. Yeah, that could be. Somebody had reached me a couple of months ago and said, when you do your live shows, you should record it in audio form and post it somewhere. So that if you were not watching the YouTube stuff, we could just listen to the podcast stuff. And that could be an interesting idea. Joey D says, earlier this morning, 9935, some woman was talking for 45 minutes and she ID'd herself as Sister Stare. Okay. That's weird. That is weird. Oh, man. Well, I do, Piper McCoy. If I listen to a Spanish conversation, there's some of the resemblance that, yes, absolutely make me understand some of the stuff. But it's still far away. You still need to learn it. Jeff Barrett, Voice of America Museum, which is at the old Bethany relay site, north of Cincinnati. This past Saturday, they had Boy Scouts broadcasting on their very nice equipment. Oh, cool. Cool. Oh, man. David, KJ4CMY, there are many stations that broadcast in French. Wish there were some German stations. I would have a chance. Yeah, not too many political stuff. Absolutely, Kevin Wood. Let's stay to the minimum on that side of things. Peter Kegmokus, nice to have you here from Hungary. Pretty cool, Peter. Nice to have you on board. R. Walker, one of the best things about this group, from what I can tell, is we listen to stuff from all over the world, and regardless of where we come from and personal politics, we get along. We gotta. We have our opinions, and it's fine. We are all allowed to think and believe in stuff, and it's nobody else's right to change that. And the idea is that, we got to be just good enough and I think man enough to just put some of our stuff behind and be able to just respect everybody and talk. And I think this chat room is a great example of that, honestly. How is Brother Stair getting his money? I thought it ran out and he hired a legal team. He's his followers probably. I can tell you that. Take care, Laird Nigel P. Lawrence. And you guys are changing your time in Europe on next week. This weekend. Sorry, this weekend. Wow. I think it's next week. Or in 2 weeks or next week. I think maybe it's next week, actually. Yeah, absolutely, Free Saxon. Volcanic activity does change the weather when it's very, very heavy, and a lot of these particles go into the stratosphere. It can absolutely change the weather. Sean Fritzl says an extra hour of partying here. Well, you're on the chat room. Why aren't you in the chat room? You're in the chat room in Conlon. I don't understand your question. So, Bro Weaver, the important thing to understand about my live shows is that they are always UTC time. So what that means is when time will shift, my time stays the same in UTC. But your reference to that show will be 1 hour different. And for me also will be like that. When we change, I will stay at 20 UTC. But instead of being 4 p.m. here, it'll be 3 p.m. when I start. So our reference changes 1 hour, but the UTC time, if you just remember it's UTC, that UTC time is always the same. Take care, Mr. Lucky Train. Always nice to have you on board. And don't forget, three shows next week. Wednesday, 0 UT, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, 20 UT, 4 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have our special Halloween show. And Friday, 20 UT, 4 p.m. Eastern. Oh yeah, that's an idea, Circuitous Vibes. CMVB 69 contest starts in 10 minutes. 0 UTC tonight. And goes through 23:59 Sunday. Hey Joe, I think we changed the time November 3rd in US. So it's next week. Okay, so this weekend is Europe. Next week is our time to change. Yeah, Joseph, you can add UTC clock to an iPhone and even an Android phone. You can add clocks and put in UTC clock. And I always keep a UTC clock. And I always set my shortwave radios to UTC on their clocks. Because, I mean, it's a shortwave radio. It's better to have it UTC already, you know? So, hey guys, if you want to help me out, paypal.me/shortwave. Or on PayPal to the Yahoo email that you see here. It's something that helps me a lot. And, it makes me, helps me buy new equipment, microphones, new computer. It costs me a lot of money to run these things. So if you like what I do, please consider donations. It's very, very helpful. And I take a lot of time to do this. And if you really like what I do, if it's something that you find that is important, that it continues to work, why not think about a little something? Helps out. You don't have PayPal. You don't want to transfer through the internet because you're maybe you don't know how it works. Well, just write to official Shortwave Radio at gmail.com and say, hey, I want to send you a little something. What can I do? You can send me a international postal money order, and I'll give you my postal address. You can send it where. And if you really enjoy what I do, why not think about a little something? I'm here all the time. Cool, Paul White. I hope you're going to come back regularly. It's fun. We reached, Trimbali says 128 watching. I think we beat the record. I was watching I always, from time to time I take a look at the amount of people watching. And I believe I saw 171 today at one point, which means that was a record. 171 live viewers. These shows are getting more and more popular. I'm getting 1,500, 2,000 views in like 2-3 days every time the show is posted. So, it's pretty cool. So, guys, we're at 3 hours and 50. I'm going to take time to cook myself some food. Try to listen in to Alan Wiener if the signal's there. And if not, well, don't forget that in a few minutes, 0 UT, we will have the CQ Worldwide SSB contest. So tune to the handbands. You're going to have a lot of fun. Remember, three shows next week. Huh? Isn't that a reason for a donation? 3 shows next week. Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 20 UTC. Wednesday at 0 UTC, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be, of course, the regular Wednesday show. Pirate on 6950. Yes, it is. Look at that. Whoops. 6950. $69.50 upper sideband. There is a pirate station. So 3 shows next week. Yeah, something like 6949.87, something like that. We have our Halloween show next week. Somebody might be disguised somehow, I don't know. And so that's going to be 20 UTC, 4 p.m. Eastern, and of course the Friday show, 20 UTC, 4 p.m. Eastern also. So hope you enjoy the shows next week. Take care, guys. It was a lot of fun to be here today. Almost 4 hours. Pretty good show, eh? What do you think? And of course, hope you enjoy. Have a great weekend. Those that are in the contest, have a great CQ Worldwide SSB contest weekend. And see you next week. 3 days in a row. You guys are going to have enough next week. After 3 days, you're going to say, I got enough of that guy from Canada. So take care, my friends. And it's a lot of fun. It's always fun to see all of you out there. Really cool to see everybody here. Take care, my friends. Stay safe. And see you next week. Okay? So, bye-bye. Love you all. Please stay safe.